3, 2, 1. Officially recording.
Hello, Mr. Lizard.
Hello, Foxy. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We've officially hit record, and the little dog is standing beside me now, wanting attention. Hi, what are you doing? Come here.
Well, while he's getting attention, I'll say hello and welcome back to another episode of the blog update. It is episode 74, and as usual, I'd like to start the show by saying thank you very much to 45 patrons, particularly to Lactating Monk, who is the Minecraft Tier 2, the only one, the one holding the medal at the top of the leaderboard there. Thank you very much for that. If you're enjoying the show and you would like to support us, you can do by going to patreon.com/the blog update. The prices are per podcast. The minimum perk you will get are access to our Patreon-only bonus feed, which we record weekly, access to our Patreon-only Discord channels, and a Discord role. And this week, we talked about things and stuff. We talked about OBS settings, finishing Zelda, building things in Minecraft that don't exist, tattoos, films. There's a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to learn about all of the crazy stuff that we've been up to this week, then it's only $1, guys. Just $1. You can do it. Why not? It's worth it. Jeez.
Yep. Indeed.
Right.
Well,
he said, with a something to say. What do you say, Slack?
Is this the point where we move on to the feedback from the previous podcast?
It is. Starting with Night Quest sample. It's not the official, the full Night Quest. It's just a sample of them. I guess the full one's probably too expensive.
Kind of like a beta that you pay early access for,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. There we go, Slack. Do you remember last week? Someone asked, could I do Guardian Spore spots on the Marcus pack? And I said no, because you'll do it wrong. Well, Night Quest sample very confidently says, regarding the Guardian spawn spot on your Marcus pack, it can be done via putting armor stand in the center chunk, and the rest of the spawn spot is relative to the chunk location. Yes, I know exactly how to do it. The problem is people won't put it in the right place. They don't know where the center of the chunk is. And even though it's got chunk lines on the pack and you can find out where the center of the chunk is, they won't read the instructions. They won't want to watch the video. They'll plonk it down near an ocean monument and just expect it to line up. And then I'll get waves and waves of complaints going, the Guardians aren't spawning in the right places. So, yes, I understand the theory. That's not the problem. The problem is the people. And I know, I feel like I'm really mean saying that, but it's just a common thing. I don't read manuals when I buy products. I just think I can figure that out. It'll be fine. You know, it's not just you guys, It's me as well. But then in this particular circumstance, I'm the person providing it and you guys are the customers. And the customer's not always right, as it turns out. So.
Indeed. Irish Viking is up next, and I'm unsure the context of this one because they say, I think the concern he has is the community not reading how to actually use it, then commenting about it being broke. Okay. They're talking about the markers pack.
Yeah, that's I should have took that out. Sorry about that. Oh, well.
No.
Oops. Okay, do you want to do the next one instead, Slack?
Okay, we got Mystery here who says, just listen to episode 42. I personally own a server for my friends, but haven't managed to find out the UUID of players, so cannot set up a whitelist system. A griefer then found my server details and joined, causing destruction. We didn't know who it was, so I checked the console and saw everyone who had spawned in and realized the user who had griefed us. Okay.
I'm not sure how that's feedback.
I don't remember episode 42 off the top of my head, so
no, it's a while ago now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you don't. Well, normally you don't need the UUID of players. You just need their gamer tag. However, in this particular update, 1.20.11, the server whitelisting system's totally broken, so you do need the UUID or the XUID of players, which you can get by going to their Xbox profile. It's quite easy to get. If you're not setting up whitelisting and you're getting griefed, that's sounds like a you problem. It's very easy to do. Very easy to do indeed. So, don't lapse on security. Do it right.
Yeah. Would recommend.
Jeez. Mystery also says, normally love the podcast, but there's one thing that's been annoying me. Yes, Slack, we finally got some negative feedback. I've been waiting for this. Thank you, Mystery.
Oh.
The ending. The music is killing my ears. It's going really high if you aren't talking and very low if you are constantly. Please make it go as a standard level. Thanks for great entertainment. Okay, so what's happening is it's called ducking, and you'll hear it on the radio, you'll hear it on TV. If the audio is quiet, the music level gets raised so that it fills the gap, and then when they start talking it again, they drop the music so you can hear what they're saying. I believe it might be a little bit aggressive at the moment on our outro. And me and Slack do tend to have gaps in what we say, and I don't cut them out anymore because otherwise you end up with loads of jump cuts in the video version of this, and I don't do two different versions. I just take the audio from the video version and put it out as the podcast because I'm lazy, because I don't want to spend 4 hours doing a 2-hour podcast. So I will reduce it a bit, but I'm not stopping it altogether, because otherwise you'll either hear the music or, we'll finish talking and the music will just be deathly quiet and you won't hear it. So, yeah.
Thanks for the feedback, though. But now you know why.
Yeah.
Purple Hoser's up next and says, hey, Foxy, I have a question. Do you think Star Wars Jedi Survivor is worth $90? I mean, come on, man. That's ridiculous for a game. You're a loyal blockhead, Purple.
Oh, Slack, do you know what? I went to bed thinking about this piece of feedback. It really got to me. It really got to me. And it got to me because, no offense to you, Purple Hoser, but it got to me because there is a quite a horrendous attitude. And it's no one's fault. It's just the attitude that the internet has bred, that everything should be free. Why is this expensive? And I had a whole list of why games are cheaper than they should be. So let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head, because I read this when you wrote it a few days ago, and it's been a while and I've had a sleep. But basically, if you like Star Wars and you want to play the game, for a game that you can spend a good 50 or 60 hours in, then $90 is 100% worth it. Games should be expensive. They shouldn't be cheap. And my reasoning for that is that it costs an absolute fortune to make a game. So let me just go through very, very, very basically how game development works. Not all game development studios are just absolutely swimming in cash. And in order to become swimming in cash, they have to sell games and they have to make good games. But they all start at the same place. They all start with, hey, I've got an idea for a game. I need to put hundreds of hours with a workforce of hundreds of people into making that game. But I can't afford to pay those people because I don't have any money. And I can't pay them with a promise that in 4 or 5 years' time, when this game is complete, I'll pay you, because people need to eat, people need to sleep, people need a roof over their heads. So people have to earn money. They have to earn a wage in order to live. So that company or the person with the good idea, they go to investors and they say, hey, I've got this fantastic idea for a game. I think it'll sell really well. Will you lend me some money so that I can pay these people? Or if that person happens to be relatively well off, they can go to the bank and they can get a loan. But all of these things have to be paid back. So, and investors generally want a return on their investment. They want a profit. You take any reasonable sized game studio, you're talking staff between sort of 100 to even 1,000 people working on a game. And that's not necessarily just developers. You've got the people that are developing the game. You've got people that are doing the graphics, the marketing stuff, the sound bites. You've got celebrities going in to do voiceovers. You've got people doing the subtitles and all of the accessibility stuff. You've got people making the menus, people creating the brand box art. There's just thousands and thousands of people. You watch any movie or play a game to the end and see the credits, and you look at all of those names of all of those people. Every single one of those people needs to get paid to play a game. If a game sells incredibly well, then it might sell 10 million copies. If a game does phenomenally well, it might sell 20 million copies. If a game sells averagely, it might sell 4 or 5 million copies. So $100 game is $400 million. Sounds like a lot of money. But you take into account that game probably took 5 years to build. and there's 100 employees, and let's say an average US salary for a game developer is probably about $50,000. That's 25 million gone already. Then you've got marketing to pay for, which will be even more than that. You've got to make adverts for the game. You've got to put it on the radio. You've got to pay TV companies. You've got to pay licenses to get it played in the cinema. You've got to get it in front of people. And that's not free. Okay, they can make a post on Twitter, but they're not going to sell many games just by posting it on Twitter. They've got to get it out there. They've got to get people aware of it. They're putting it on bus stickers and all of that, costs millions and millions of dollars into marketing it. And all of this is done on the basis that they hope they're going to sell enough copies to make that money back so they can pay back the money that they've borrowed, pay the staff, pay themselves, and hopefully, if they've done it right, have enough money left over in the kitty so that the next game they work on, they don't have to ask for loads of money from more investors and lose loads of money. And they have to have a massive float of cash in that company because the next game that comes along might not sell very well. And the next one after that might not sell very well. And the next one after that might not sell very well. So they could end up with 3 or 4 games after the first one that was good, coming out that are just no good and didn't sell. And all of a sudden they're losing money hand over fist and firing staff because they can't afford to pay them. So they need an influx of cash. They constantly need more cash than they're spending. So that this is called cash flow. It's how businesses work. If you don't have cash up front, then you're borrowing it. And whenever you're borrowing money, it comes at a horrendous cost. So with games these days that have got thousands of people working on them and literally millions of hours worth of development and time and marketing and all of those things that go into them, then they're worth that money. Otherwise, they can't not be. Do you know what I mean? How can...
No, you didn't even include the cost of the computers or the software or electricity or anything else.
The building that they built, I had all of this in my mental list when I went to bed that night. Yeah, the building that they're working in, they're paying rent on that to keep the people warm in the studio that they're working in. They're paying for the utilities for that. Every single PC that they'll be working on, device, development kit, consoles, costs money. And every single one of those PCs has to have all of the software on there loaded in, which all costs licensing fees as well. So even more millions of dollars to create a game. And if they're lucky, they'll sell 10 million copies and just about break even. Yeah. And considering games like, you go back when I was a kid, I was buying Sonic the Hedgehog on a cartridge was £30, right? That's when I was a kid. Uh-huh. Inflation says that realistically, games these days should be about £200 each, and they're not. Yep. They're cheap. They are cheap, considering what you're buying. Now, not all games are the same. Some games are a couple of hours long. Indie games, obviously, totally different. Some games have a lot less work put in than others. But Jedi Survivor, not only have they paid for all of that, but they're also like Star Wars. The people that own Star Wars, Disney, haven't gone to EA, I think it was, that made that game. I can't remember. They haven't gone to them and go, hey, will you build us a game? We'll give you money. EA will have gone to Disney and said, we want to make a Star Wars game. And Disney will go, yeah, okay, but the license for that is X million, and we also want this percentage from every sale. And speaking of percentages from every sale, every single app store that you buy that from, so whether it be the Steam store or the EA store or the Battlefield store, whichever one you get it from, will be taking a 30% cut of the sale as well. So how much have you got left realistically at the end of that after selling a few million copies? You hope it's Star Wars. You hope it's going to sell a lot of copies. But look at Minecraft. Minecraft, biggest name in the world, Minecraft Legends. It's a good job it was on Game Pass, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have made any money. All those developers would have been fired because they couldn't have carried on and done the next game, right? If that was an independent studio.
Oh, they've been done.
So yeah, if you like Star Wars and you want to play that game, then I think $90 is absolutely 100% worth it. And I think if gaming shouldn't be cheap, because otherwise we're going to end up with cheap games. And this is the other problem me and Slack were talking about in the bonus show with this day and age. games come out buggy and riddled with bugs because the developer or the publishers, not the developers, are pushing them out too early before they're finished because they need that money to pay the investors back. And then they're going, oh, well, once we've sold a few copies, we can actually start paying the staff to fix it. And that's a horrible situation to be in. If they were selling games for more money, we wouldn't be in this situation. The games that would be coming out would be good.
Or so we hope. Yeah.
So yes, Purple Hoser. Yes, it's worth it.
If the game is worth it to you, go for it. Go for it. It's going to come down to your own value on what you enjoy in the game, though.
And it's always difficult for game publishers to decide what price to put a game out at, because you've got to make it priced that they're affordable, and also priced that if somebody doesn't like it, they're not going to be asking for a refund. So, like, for instance, I finished Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If I knew how I was going to feel at the end of that, when I started it, I would have paid probably triple what I paid for that game. And that was a very expensive game because of how much I loved that game, how much I got out of it, and how it made me feel at the end. I would have been happy to put that extra money in, but I don't know that going in. So if they'd have said to me that game's $180 or £180, which would be about $200, I'd be like, I'm not buying that. It's way too expensive.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what was that game that we both bought here recently that you loved and I absolutely hated? I can't remember what the name of it was.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I wouldn't give you $10 for that now.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's just not for me.
So, yeah, the internet has bred this idea that everything should be free, and now all of a sudden, all these technology companies, Twitter being Twitch, suddenly trying to actually make money. And the reason they were all free for such a long time is because there was this ethos that if we build something big, eventually we'll earn lots of money. If we can reach, and there was this phrase going around for years, critical mass. If we can reach critical mass, all of a sudden, all of this money that we've borrowed, we'll be able to, give back, and we'll be able to start making money. The problem is, they didn't ever figure out how to make money. Twitter doesn't know how to make money, and all of a sudden it's making these ridiculous changes that everybody hates. Like even just blocking people out from being able to use the API because they're not making money. They're losing money. They always have lost money. And do you think, how can a company just keep losing money? Well, they borrow it. They get investors, and they convince these investors that at some point in the future, this will be a massive platform and we'll sell it for X billion dollars to some other person and you'll all get paid back. And if they don't get, and that's obviously what happened, Elon Musk got it. So all of those investors will have got paid back from what he bought it from, but now he's got to make that money back. It's just so they should never have been free. They should never have been. The internet shouldn't be free, because it's not sustainable. And now we've all got this idea that everything should be free on the internet, and we all resent paying for things when they cost money. But life costs money. You've got to have money to live, and someone's building these things. They ain't doing it for nothing. Jeez. So anyway, yeah. Oh, I felt good that.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Lucy in our little chat there. I have 3,000 hours of Minecraft. I bought it for $6.99 on iOS. It should cost more money. Jeez. Okay. Right. Next.
Moving on?
Yeah.
Okay. Meerkat says, read the knowledge books for Bedrock. Why would we need one if the feature, assumingly they fixed the bug, can be toggled off? From what I gather from other episodes, Java has this knowledge book to effectively toggle off the recipe unlocking pop-ups.
That wasn't our point. The point wasn't we need a knowledge book because there's no alternative. The point was, if they're going to put all of this time and effort into giving us parity, give us parity, not an alternative. Not we think this is better solution, because it's we think this is a better solution that make Bedrock different in the first place. When they decided, actually, we think this mob should do this on Bedrock Edition, or we think this block should act this way on Bedrock Edition, or we think this thing should do this on Bedrock Edition. Every time they deviated from Java Edition, created another parity gap. And now they're trying to close all these gaps. So by not giving us a knowledge book and giving us a toggle, they've created a parity gap. And at some point, they're going to have to fill that in again. So it's just stupid that they're putting time and effort into parity and then going, yeah, but we do it differently this time. Unless they do it differently on both versions, which they're not doing.
No. It's very annoying. Very much so.
Okay, Zenman16. Oh, they're in the wrong order here, Slack. Otherwise, you're going to get all the short ones and I'm going to get the long ones. No, the other way around. So you want to do Zenman?
Yeah, sure. Zenman says, I wonder how the recipe unlocking toggle would work for the BDS servers. I'm guessing it would need to be command-based.
It is command-based.
Yeah.
It is a command. The fact that there's a toggle, all that does is change a game rule. You can do game rules with commands.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Downloadable Duck. Sent a piece of feedback and then corrected themselves, and I'm going to read both out. They said, last week you talked about using snowballs to aim ender pearls. I watch Skip the tutorial, and he mentioned this trick as well, just to be sure I tested it in my Minecraft world, and yes, this completely works. Which it doesn't, because Slack and I did myth busting videos, proved that it didn't. And then Downloadable Duck came back and went, I recently watched your video on aiming ender pearls, and it confused me for a minute because I knew it worked for me, but after some testing, I realised it only works on Java Edition 1.19. Not sure if it still works. So, yes, works on, again, parity difference. So on Java Edition, apparently, a snowball will fly as far as an ender pearl, but on Bedrock Edition, it does not.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Jen fires up next and says, I love the podcast. Enjoy getting to listen live and getting to hear the bloopers. Hashtag expert level 99.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it, mate. Okay. A Manchu says, do I understand this correctly? If you search recipes for rail, Mojang decided to avoid confusing you so you won't see recipes for powered rail, detector rail, or activated rail. Thanks. Thanks a lot. I also wonder about recipe unlock. What if it's per world setting? What if you're on a realm? Wouldn't it make sense to be per player accessibility setting? No, I think that would make it a lot more complicated if it was per player. I think being per world makes perfect sense because you can decide whether or not you want it on or not. As for what you've said about the rail thing, no, it would still show powered rail, detector rail, and activator rail because each one of those has the word rail in it. So the issue was, if you typed in Tor, it won't show activate Tor rail because the Tor is not at the beginning of the word. But it would show a torch, right? If you type in rail, it's going to show you powered rail, detector rail, and activator rail because it's at the beginning of our word. So basically, they're taking all of the items in the game, breaking them down into words, and matching what you've written in with either the beginning of or the whole word. So if you put in ale, as in AIL instead of the R, then no, they're not going to show up. But if you type in the full, or if you did RAI, Ray, instead, and left the L off, yes, they would show up. Does that make sense?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does.
Good.
See it.
Yes.
260. Powered one-way glass is an interesting idea. However, redstone lamps have this capability. When unpowered, they are transparent, and when they are powered, they are solid. Test, just use one of the daylight sensors below it to see what happens. Anyways, great show. Keep up the good work, Psych and Foxy. I think you're misunderstanding what we were talking about.
I think they're getting
the powered one-way glass.
So, we were actually talking about it visually being one-way glass, but also what you're doing there is you're putting a light source over a daylight detector, turning the light off, and then on again, and then the daylight detector is detecting that light change, and you're thinking it's the skylight, it's seeing. No, daylight detector will detect the light level from a block as well, because they're stupid. Called the daylight sensor, it should be just called the light sensor. So no, it's not going from transparent to solid. It's going from solid to solid, but the light is turning on, and the daylight sensor's picking up the light that's turning on. Oh dear. Ducky McQuack says, hey guys, I have a few pieces of quick feedback. Last week there was a mention of whether the show needed to be shorter, and I want to say, as far as I'm concerned, longer the better. Also, Foxy, you mentioned the possibility of making an add-on which would make mobs peaceful rather than disappearing. I love the idea. In my realms, we have members who prefer peaceful, yet we need mobs for certain things. So I've been having to alternate peaceful and normal on different days. Anyway, I think my quick feedback has turned out longer than planned. Sorry about that. You guys were awesome. I greatly appreciate all you do. yes, that will be coming as part of my my new videos. I am going to be going through all of the wishlist items, figuring out which ones I can do, and one of those will be proper peaceful, is what I'm going to call it.
Proper peaceful.
Yeah.
Now, will it actually be like normal, and then you have to, because you can't get mobs to default spawn in peaceful?
No, it will be easy mode, but mobs will. In fact, it can be any mode. It won't matter. It will just mean mobs will be passive. All mobs will spawn in as usual, but they will be totally passive unless you hit one, in which case it will target you. So you can go to the nether, you can wander around with all of the wither skeletons and the blazes. They won't bother you, but if you hit one of them, they'll hit you back.
Make them all group aggro too. You hit one, every mob comes after you.
I could do that. I could make them all like pigmen, but I think that would be a bit evil for a proper peaceful add-on Slack. But yeah, I think they should hit back. I think that should be a thing. I don't think they should just let you just hit them, because then that's just cheesy mode, isn't it? I do think I do think they shouldn't be aggro on you like as soon as they see you.
Yeah, touch a creeper and immediately he supercharges and blows up.
Yeah.
You get no chance.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jeez. Okay, that is it for the feedback. If you would like to leave us feedback, then you can do it by emailing us at news@theblockupdate.com, filling in the feedback form on the website, or joining our Discord. The website is theblockupdate.com, and the Discord is listed on there somewhere, so you have to find it. Jeez. Or you could look in the description of this, I guess.
Yeah.
Slack.
Yeah.
We were desperately in need of a hotfix for Minecraft Bedrock Edition since 1.20 came out, and thankfully Mojang have listened to us and they've gone, we hear you. Here you go, guys. Here is a hotfix.
Okay.
Hotfix 1.20.12 came out yesterday. And didn't fix any of the issues that the 1.20.10 and 11 and 20 were riddled with.
But that's we need bugs fixed.
Yes, well, they didn't do that. Okay.
Where's the changelog?
Well, they fixed resource pack crashes. They fixed a crash on iPhone, and they fixed a connection stability related to abandoned connection closed errors. So they have made it a bit easier to get onto realms and servers, and they've stopped a couple of crashes. But they haven't fixed any of the the really obvious, horrible problems that they added with 1.20 and beyond.
But where's the real changelog?
Oh, you mean the one that they haven't, all of the changes that they've made worse that they didn't bother putting in the changelog?
Yeah.
No, that's all we get.
Did you happen to run this through the thing, or do you still got that thing?
I have still got that, but I haven't run in the last couple of updates because I've been a bit busy, but I do need to do that. But I'm sure there'll be a bunch of things in here that haven't been fixed. I actually did download it and play on it today, and it did load, so that's a good sign. Let me just have a look and see if they've fixed that blindingly obvious issue that was with 1.20, i.e. the things being in the wrong folder. And no, they are still all in the wrong folder. Good job, guys.
Great.
So that would have been, to me, like a really easy fix. Just going, drag the items into the folder. Mm-hmm. I would have found that quite easy, personally.
Even Jeff could have done that, right?
Yeah, I think so. But... maybe they need computer lesson. maybe they're a bit out of touch with Windows. Maybe Windows 11 is just confusing them all. They don't know how to move folders and files around anymore.
All right, so official release, we just got a hotfix. What about the beta this week?
They put too much time and effort into making this hotfix and all of the changes in that. They didn't have time for beta.
Wait, we didn't get a beta?
No.
What about any other updates?
What, like Java snapshots?
Yeah.
No. So Java Edition, since 1.20.1 have been AWOL, totally gone. So a month now with nothing. Not a peep. Nothing from the developers. No snapshots, no hint at anything, nothing on Twitter, nothing at all has been coming from the Java team for a month. Now, you mentioned to me earlier that that's probably because the Swedes, the lucky Swedes, get basically get the summer off. They get 25 days holiday in the summer on top of their annual holidays, which they can have between June, July, and August. And we know they did take a week last week, not last week, a couple of weeks ago. We know they took a full week a couple of weeks ago. I guess they just didn't come back.
Guess they just shut down for a month.
Which, fine, fair enough. I think this is likely that they're working hard on stuff for the next update, ready for the next Minecon, personally, because, to be fair, I'm not hearing lots and lots of complaints about Java Edition 1.21, or 20.1, sorry, should I say. So perhaps they are just busy beavering away at the next update that we're going to be getting.
Speculations on next update?
Oh, man, how many times are we going to go around this roundabout? You know my feelings on this. I want a new dimension. I want that deep dark portal to do what it said it was going to do in the first place. I want an end update. I want an inventory update. Do you know what I'd like, Slack? The update for me. I talked about this on my live stream this week. Actually, I was when I was doing this magnet add-on. I had to make the blacksmith villager chest was the one I picked to put this new smithing template in. And I loaded up a world, just a standard world, and I flew and I flew and I flew. 3 hours. 3 hours I flew around this world looking for villages. And I must have come across in that time 4 or 5 blacksmith houses in order to try and test if it was working. And what I noticed throughout my 3 hours of just flying around in creative looking for villages, there's a locate command. Yes, and if you're in a village, it locates the one you're in. It's useless.
Yeah.
I noticed that I absolutely despise the new terrain generation. I don't like the mountains. I don't like the hills. I don't like the depth of the world. I would like 1.21 to be the let's put everything back to how it used to be flat update, where the world goes down to whatever it used to go down to. The world only goes up to whatever it used to go up to. I don't mind. Like, let's say the bottom of the world's 5 layers of deep slate. Great. That's all I don't want any more than that. I don't like mining through deep slate. I love the block. I want to be able to gather it.
Like our experimental TV version world.
Was that just 5 layers of deep slate, was it? I can't remember.
We did the biomes and we were still, Y0 was still the bottom. So we only had like 5 or 6 layers of deep slate in there.
Yeah, that's what I want. That makes sense to me. Go back to that. I can't remember ever enjoying the new terrain. It was nice to see mountains in the distance when you're playing in survival, but they're a pain to traverse. They don't offer anything good. There's nothing unique about them. They just get in the way. And I've been, I fly around. I've been doing seed searching for worlds and things like that. And I've been flying around looking for somewhere that I want to build. And yes, some of the stuff looks incredible, but I don't want to build there because it's too much work trying to terraform it to make an area I can build in. There's too many hills. The plains are up. Like, the plains should be flat, but the plains are just full of spikes and hills, and they're so high up. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of going to a desert and having to climb up 10 blocks to get to the top, to the desert floor. Stop it. And because of this, structures don't generate as big as they used to. The villages are tiny. All these villages I went to hundreds of villages. They're all tiny. They've hardly got anything in. They don't generate properly because the terrain's all broken. I don't want it. Take it back.
You mean the one guy on the top of the mountain up there, and then the one guy
in the cave,
in the bottom of the deep slate cave? Yeah.
So for me, that would be my perfect 1.21 would be to undo caves and cliffs. You can keep the deep dark. Fine. 5 layers of deep slate. Keep the deep dark. Keep mountains that don't need to be that high. Put everything back.
It does really feel like the overworld part, or rather the upper overworld. I consider anything above 65 upper overworld. is now, what is it they did on Java? The mutated giant ones. What was that called? I can't remember.
Yeah, mutated something or other. I can't remember. Extreme Hills, was it, or something like that?
Extreme. Yeah, everything's extreme. It feels like everything in the game
amplified.
is now like
That's what you're on about,
amplified.
Isn't it?
Yeah, amplified. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I keep banging on about this deep dark biome. So if there is going to be one, it's obviously everything's ancient. This is what they're going back to. What if they considered the previous world generation as ancient, and when you go through that portal, you just get an old style world? Exactly the same as the normal overworld, but no mountains, no bleeding deep slate, everything at the right place, the way it should be. I would play in that.
It's hard to imagine the game before all these crazy changes in one part, and in one part I'd be happy to go back to that.
It would be nice to have a choice. It'd be nice if that was toggleable in the world options. Do you want, like, legacy generation or new generation? I think I would go up for legacy every time. Or even just have it, like, there's so many mountains, they're everywhere. Just have them a bit more rare. Or just, like, I remember, and I made a video when the mountains first got announced and we were shown demos of them. And everything else was normal and everything looked flat. I made this video going, these mountains look incredible, but everything else looks rubbish now. So you need to address that and make the rest of the terrain look hilly. I regret it. I really, really regret it. I think they should flatten it all out a bit. I do. I think Minecraft doesn't need to be so varied height-wise.
Whatever happened, I know they were working on the version, I'm pretty sure it was in Java, where you could do sliders, where you could be like, okay, I want this much with mountains and this much with this and this much with that. You know, what if you had just a simple slider that just went from left to right, and like 0 was a super flat, and say 100 was the current version times 2, so more or less amplified, and you could choose how hilly your world was.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Just a slider.
And the other thing I noticed, obviously, I was looking for plains villages or villages, the normal village, because I know what that village in Blacksmith looks like. There were no plains in the world. Huge birch forests, huge taigers, loads and loads of mountains. Hardly any deserts, hardly any mesa. But the thing that stood out to me the most, there was no plains. And okay, maybe I just picked a bad seed, but that should be one of the most common biomes. I flew for like 50,000 blocks.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like what was it, season 4? Was that where we did the mountain? Yeah, season 4.
Yeah.
The spawn on season 4, the actual spawn was a nice flat plains area. But we ended up moving spawn over to that mountain area, and everybody had to deal with the mountains forever. It's like, why didn't we stay in this nice flat area?
There's just too much. The fact that the world goes down too low now. See, I this is me. I know this is me because that's how I like to play Minecraft. I like to dig big holes in the world, and I like to. For me, I get a sense of achievement having dug down to bedrock. I don't know why. I just always have, and that now being an extra 64 blocks and it all being deep slate just takes the fun out. Like, that's a big aspect of the game for me that I can't do anymore. And I know that sounds ridiculous because there's so much more to Minecraft than just digging holes. But it is. It's just like, that's one of the things, like one of the main things that I get enjoyment from in this game. Like, I used to spend hours in my spare time just digging and listening to like podcasts or music or watching live streams and stuff like that. I don't do it anymore because it's frustrating.
And answer me this: you're more up on modding than me. Can you change the effect that the beacon gives you?
No.
So could you make a new potion or something like that to give you like a higher level haste?
No.
So the only way that you could do it would be more or less to have an imported item to give you a higher level.
Yeah, you could hack in using structure blocks like efficiency, like 5, 6, 7, 8 books if you want to, but you've got to go into world edit, like into the level, whatever it is, to actually generate those. So there's no way of actually officially modding those in. Loads of marketplace people do it. Like, oh, look, I've got efficiency 99999. Doesn't actually really help that much with Deep Slate, because Deep Slate doesn't have, it's not that great. I think, a mining machine is more suitable for something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There would be ways of doing it, because you can detect what block you're hitting, so you could make it you could make it very jankily if you've got like haste 2 and efficiency 5 pickaxe in your hand, that the block would just disappear as soon as you clicked on it. So it's doable in that way, but it's really janky way of doing it.
Yeah. I was just trying to think if there'd be an alternative way to... There's no way. It's not vanilla. It'd definitely be a mod. But what would be the best way to go about it? So, like, say if you got an efficiency 5 pick and you got haste 3, is it instant breakdown, or is it haste 4 or haste 5? What's it take? And then how could we trigger something to make it still feel vanilla, that you have the ability to go insta mine Deep Slate then?
You can give haste with extra haste as a command, can't you? You can do the effect command as a command, give it more. But what would you do in order to? It'd have to be like custom armor or like if you're holding a custom tool, something like that. But the problem with that, like I said again in the bonus show, you can't give enchantments to custom armor and tools. So, like I was thinking, maybe I could make like a one of those all-in-one like pickaxe, shovel, axe things, or maybe if I can make a hammer, but you can't put mending on it, and you can't put efficiency on it, because you can't put enchantments on custom items.
Okay, so now they've got the thing where you can detect what's in a player's hand, right?
Yeah.
Can you detect if an item is a specific name in a player's hand?
With the beta API system, yes. With the official ways of doing it, no. You used to be able to.
I was going to say...
You can with commands. I guess you can with commands, because you can use... can you? No, you can't. Not when they're holding it. Archangel of Death says, can't you change Deep Slate durability to be the same as stone? No, there's no access to vanilla blocks and items using any of these things, whether it be the beta API or add-ons or anything like that. You cannot change vanilla blocks or items. Change the entities. You can actually give vanilla items different durabilities, and you can make non-stackable items stackable, but you can't change anything else about them, sadly. You can change how they look as well, obviously, but that's it.
Yeah.
I was trying to do that. I was trying to fiddle with the... that's what I wanted to do for my magnet boots. I wanted to make like just netherite boots work like that, but couldn't change it.
I have a horrible idea, Foxy. A horrible idea.
Go on.
It's just absolutely horrible. All right, so with commands, you can target stuff like that. So say you pre-gen the world, okay? And then you wrote a command that would teleport you all the way around the world, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're preloading the world, and you just replace all Deep Slate with like all the way down to like
with
negative 60 with stone.
With stone.
Just replace stone.
Well, I was looking for the feature rules on world generation, because I actually thought about doing that. I thought, what if I could make it so that it just Deep Slate only started at like for the bottom 5 layers, but you can't change that. I thought you could do that. I'm sure you used to be able to do that, but you can't. That's all hard coded, because that's one of the reasons I was playing with all of the like experimental biome features and stuff like that. I thought, what if I could replace Deep Slate with a custom block, which is Deep Slate, looks like Deep Slate, acts like Deep Slate, but's easier to mine. You can't change it. I can change what trees are made of and leaves are made of and flowers look like, and I can change all that, but you can't change what the world's made of. You can change what's called the foundation layer, which goes down as far as stone, but below that you've got no access.
Man, why they put in stuff like that? And they encourage people to make mods and stuff like that, yet they literally tie your hands behind your back and be like, here, go ahead, mod. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah. So... Well, what about you, Slack? What do you think 1.21 is going to be? More height? More Deep Slate? What do you want the opposite
God,
of me?
I hope not. God, I hope not. Realistically, I think it's going to do with offhanding.
Do you? You really think so? That's not going to help Java Edition, though, is it?
No, it's not going to help Java Edition
unless it's the
at all.
combat update.
Because think of all the stuff that they've been doing with Bedrock with that in the last few months, or let's say the last 6 months. Changing they literally broke every add-on that you've made that's dealt with that. Why do they keep playing around with that?
Yeah, but
Why do
no,
they
that's
keep
not
playing
that.
around
Like, a
with?
lot of people think that. They haven't messed around with offhand at all. They've just messed around with how I was reading what the player was holding. It's got nothing to do with the offhand. Then that's what
But
I think.
didn't they make the new tags on whether something's offhandable or not and stuff like that?
That's been in experimental for years. It's just come out of experimental now.
I'm telling you, Bedrock's at the point where it needs it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think it can, well, I've proved it can handle it. We've done it. I mean, yes, You have to, if you're doing touch controls, you have to use their new touch control scheme. But another reason why it looks like they're heading in that direction, it kind of makes sense that they're doing that. And it does feel.
We would need that before we get an inventory update.
Why? Not necessarily.
In the name of parity.
I could imagine them doing a combat update. They've been talking about that for years and years and years, and that would go hand in hand with adding offhand to Bedrock. And I can understand that's why they might hold off on bringing offhand to Bedrock if that's their game plan. Is like 121 is going to be a combat/inventory update. Yeah, great. That makes sense.
I just hope we don't get plagued with just another, pardon my language, junk biome. Because we've got all these. Well, we've got all these hills out there, these meadows in quotation mark. Okay, they literally just took one and turned it into a new type. The cherry, mango, whatever. We still got a bunch of them out there that are useless at this point. You got ones that spawn nothing but like blue flowers, and then you got ones that spawn nothing but this and nothing but that. What are they going to do with those? I don't know. I want something that benefits more on, I guess, my playstyle. Offhanding, I would just love it. I hope I would love it anyways. It just feels like something we need.
It does.
So that's my far hope. I don't know.
But then when with this stupid, I mean, we joked about it a lot during our time digging out the trail ruins with them like just shoving all of these extra junk items in our faces and like purposely it feels going, you want an inventory update, here you go, let's make things worse for you.
Yeah.
How they obviously feel very strongly about how the inventory is. So I mean, maybe that's like their way of going, in the next update, gotcha. Now you know really how bad the inventory could be after the trail ruin. So here's an inventory update. Or it could be them going, no, we think the inventory is fine. Because they've heard us. We know they've heard us. They've responded to other YouTubers that have done videos on it. They've responded on Twitter about it. But there's never been a sign of, oh, yeah, we're listening.
Now, I would honestly consider if they did an inventory update before an offhand update, a slap in the face to us. Because the way that they like to go about stuff in the name of parody and everything else, if they're going to give us something new before they give us something old in that regard, that's been around forever, they've said that they were working on it at one point, if I remember correctly. They said we will eventually get it.
Yeah.
It's like we knew we were going to get mob despawning. We knew we were going to get this change. We knew we were going to get that. Okay.
But doesn't it make sense to you that they would tie it in with an update that makes sense, like an inventory update or like a combat update? Because, you can't go, 1.21 is going to be this thing that only Bedrock's going to benefit from. It's got to be something that works for Java Edition as well.
I don't know. Or is offhanding just going to be slipped in as just a minor update,
No, I can't see that because it's such a massive change to the game. Surely there'd be a big song and dance about it. That's the sort of thing that would, if they like Minecon has been, or Minecraft Live, whatever it's called now, has been so lacking with actually anything to get people excited. If they all of a sudden announce that they're bringing Offhand to Bedrock Edition as part of that show, I think that would actually get a lot of people excited. Okay, not all of the Java Edition players, but we know for a fact there's a massive, even bigger than Java Edition, Bedrock Edition community. They're just not as vocal because there's not as many of, Bedrock Edition influencers as there are Java Edition. So You don't hear it as much, but it's there. So I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like at this point it needs to be something big, because I think they are very much at the go big or go home stage, because the last few updates have been problematic, disappointing, lackluster.
I feel like the next one should be a big one. It should, because even though the last one, I don't even know what it was called now. Did it even have a name?
Which one? The one we've just had?
Tales and Trails.
Tales and Trails.
Tales and Trails. It felt lackluster. I know it added quite a bit to the game, but it's one of those that it
wasn't
really
a big update.
Nothing to.
It wasn't. All of the stuff in that update that we got, as I've said many, many times, and okay, I'm not talking about for Java Edition. I'm not talking about all the months and months worth of planning and design and all of that stuff they went through. But in terms of implementing what went in, was no more than a week or two's work worth of Bedrock add-on doing, basically. It wasn't a big job. Obviously, coding something into the main part of the game is a lot bigger of a job than fiddling with add-ons. But making a couple of mob textures and animations, adding a couple of blocks to the game, it wasn't a big job.
Usually I refrain from bringing up live show chat, but Lorenzo said, give me an end update in 1.21. No, don't give me another bio.
I wouldn't mind the end being done. I think there are areas they need to focus more. I definitely do not want any more overworld terrain generation changes. I know I just said I want them to go back to how it was, but realistically, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. If they're doing stuff, I don't want another biome squeezing in and moving the world around. I don't want another, terrain generation change that means all the worlds are going to need blending again and they don't work quite the right way and we need more, stop fiddling with the overworld generation. You've done that now, but every update for as long as I can remember has done something, going back all the way to like 1.16, I think, was the last one, which was the nether update that didn't fiddle with the overworld. 1.17, first part of Caves and Cliffs. 1.18, second part of Caves and Cliffs. 1.19 with the deep darkened mountains. And now we've had the cherry blossom biome and the desert stuff and the structures. Stop playing with the overworld. Stop it.
Yeah, there's other dimensions.
Yeah, one of them has got nothing in it.
Literally nothing. Oh, we got some inch stone.
Jeez. Oh, man. Right, we should probably move on from ranting about this Slack and go into the Bugdate. Talk about all of the bugs in the game. Jeez, I've found a bunch this week. I'm not going to talk about them because they're to do with add-ons and things like that, and I can't really remember off the top of my head. So, have you got any Slack?
No, not that I can think of this week.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'll start these ones because there's going to be an absolutely ginormous one to get to in a minute. So I'm going to start with Irish Viking, who says, let me bring up the bug report, make it a bit bigger. I found a bug. I even created a Jira. Iron Golems now spawn in a 2-block high gap as of 1.20.10. So, and this is confirmed. I guess there would have been a 3-block gap before.
Yeah.
Because they are 3 blocks tall.
That's so weird. Then you should be able to spawn them and suffocate them and kill them instantly.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Unless their hitbox is shrunk, in which case they don't actually take suffocation damage.
Huh. So it is confirmed, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here. There's a bit of code digging going on. Don't know. Who knows? So, yeah, weird. Interesting one to look out for.
All right. Lucy's up next and says, air bubbles won't regenerate after swimming underwater without looking up. Already a bug report on it.
Swimming mechanics have been altered where you have to look up at the sky to take a breath. Well, I guess it's more realistic.
Yeah.
What? Go underwater, swim to the surface and stick your head out of the water.
Good talk.
Brilliant. I think I quite like that, actually. I like that realism. You know me, I'm all up for real life in Minecraft Slack. I never moan about that and say how stupid it is and that we shouldn't have it.
No. You're always wanting more realism. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want Minecraft to be an escape from real life. I want it to have all of the problems of real life in the game, so that I can live my real life problems without escaping from them while playing games.
No, yeah.
That's what I
I
want.
want my character to start, getting out of breath climbing a ladder. Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling really unfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay, we've got a big old. We got a piece of a bug report from Tiny Raccoon, and then there was a bit of a thread on this one. So I thought I'd go through it all because it was quite interesting. So, Tiny Raccoon says, when going through portals on realms, you take suffocation damage, but once you load in, it stops. I lost 30 levels to it a few times. I found a few from 1.17 and 1.17.10, as well as 1.16.220. So it's an old bug, but couldn't find a recent one. Very annoying, so I decided to try and fix my Jira problems and create my first bug report, hopefully in a perfect format. And this is the bug report here, which has been apparently marked as resolved and also unconfirmed. But then Zenman replied saying, I've had this twice. It's updated to 1.20.10. Both times I killed the game when loading screen was frozen, but both times when I logged back in, the game decided I should be about 400 blocks from where I spawned in underground. The first time I logged in, I was in a cave. The second time I logged in to be suffocated and managed to mine out of it. I find it interesting that on each occasion I entered a different portal in the nether, nowhere near each other, and both times the game placed me in roughly the same coordinates in the overworld. Tiny Raccoon then replied saying, the duplicated ticket seems to have got lots of attention recently, though, and that's what's happening. Seems that you are spawning above the portal and suffocating in the obsidian. Okay, this is my final message, I swear, which it's not. After some digging, the 1.17/18 bug was resolved, but then reopened, and the owner added more versions affected that could only be seen by clicking on the and 8 more of the versions affected list. Sorry for the confusion. Zenman then comes back saying, so I did a little playtesting and creative version of my world. It appears the location I spawned in when relogging after the crash was my nether coordinates in the overworld. I got the coordinates of one of the nether portals I crashed from on the nether side and went to those coordinates in the overworld, and sure enough, a couple of blocks to the side is the cave system that exactly matches where I'd spawned. So, yeah, basically, you're going through a portal, the game hangs, you log out, you log back in again, and it spawns you in. It tells the game thinks you've gone to the new dimension, but it hasn't updated what coordinates you should have gone to, so it then spawns you in the overworld at the coordinates that would have been in the nether. And sometimes you end up in the nether portal block itself and suffocate. So that's good for some fun. Yeah.
I haven't heard that one, but I've heard quite a few people complain about going through nether portals and taking damage again.
Yeah, so there's two obviously on the go in this one. They're having a conversation about two different things there. But the fact that portals are sending you to the wrong place and or killing you inside of the blocks is not good. Considering they put all that effort in 119, do you remember the big hoo-ha about, we're finally allowed, you can take animals and things through the nether portal now because it'll spawn you in the middle of the portal rather than at the side. And it's just like they've undone that again.
Yeah.
And slab placing, big deal in 1.19. Whatever update it was, we got frogs. Do you remember slab placing all of a sudden worked perfectly? That's broken again.
Yep. Yeah, the one with the coordinates one, I couldn't offer no advice. The one with the taking damage as you're going through, that used to be a bug that was related to lighting the nether portal on the side and not the bottom.
Oh, really? Okay. So it classes the side as the top.
Yeah. So, like, if you lit it like on one of the side blocks instead, when it put you through the portal, it puts you there instead of at the bottom.
Well, there's something for us to test on Friday, isn't there?
Yep. Yeah. That is something to test.
Write that down, Jen.
That was... Yeah. That was an old bug, and I've heard a lot of people complaining about that one, even in my Discord here recently when they're playing Minecraft. Oh, why am I taking damage going through this portal?
Yeah.
Now the other one, I wouldn't even know how to reproduce that.
No.
I don't.
Well, log out when you've got the load into range screen, I guess. Jeez.
You'd have to hard crash your game, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah, you would, yeah. Okay, speaking of Jen, Slack, the next bug report is from Jen. You going to read it?
Says, I can't seem to find a specific bug report on third-person eating animation showing while player is accessing their inventory. I keep being referred to other broken eating animations reported, which do not describe this issue. I seen that. She posted a clip on that into the Discord, and I seen that a couple weeks back too. It's a very weird bug. I don't know if it deals with logins or whatever, but I seen it with T-Man. He was holding a crafting table, and it just looked like he was sitting there eating a crafting table the whole time.
Because it was in inventory.
It was his hand. Yeah, and then whatever he changed to in his hand, it looked like he was then eating a pickaxe or whatever. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I know that happened to Jen on, I think it was Stream Weekend. Whoever she was meeting up with to trade off the stream, they were eating their rocket.
Nice. They do look a little bit like candy canes. Jeez.
Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jen, I'm going to call you out, Jen. You might have looked hard and far for a bug report. If you can't find one, Jen, you've got to make one. Them's the rules.
Yeah.
Irish Viking says, I found another bug. Ajira was created before I could do it. Oh, good. We've got a bug report. You can continuously fly with Elytra if you activate it just before you land from a jump. There's a video on Foxy's VIP server channel I posted. I can't post it here, sadly. So, Elytras do not deactivate when touching the ground. Activating Elytras from the ground occasionally gives you a small speed boost if W key is pressed. The Elytras do not deactivate when touching the ground, which makes the player stay in fly position until W is released. Brilliant.
Yeah, that sounds like the same
Swimming
kind of bug
thing.
that I get with the swimming thing, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
RoboFun1 is up next and says, hi, after the 1.20.10 and the 1.20.11 update, not everyone playing on my server can join the world. The affected players get the error message, abandoned connection closed, when trying to connect, but the other players can still join. The players online will see the example, RoboFun01 left the game without joining. Here's a link to the bug report. Well, hopefully you're in luck because this week's, update was supposed to have fixed abandoned connection closed.
Ta-da! Don't worry, RoboFun. I guarantee you that the change in the changelog has actually changed what's in the game. Of course it has, because they always do. So, you will never, ever have connection problems ever again. Unless you add someone to the whitelist, then don't put in their XUID or, a multitude of other reasons why servers are totally broken at the moment.
Yeah, because they work perfectly.
Jeez. Okay, that is everything from the Bugdate. Jeez, we got a load of bug reports that time. That's really nice. Thank you very much, all of you, in fact, we got one from everyone apart from one person, Slack. Not saying who.
I know.
Not saying any names.
That Jen person, yeah.
Some people are trying. It's not like you've got a baby to look after or anything, Jen. Jeez, what are you doing? If you think you found a bug in Minecraft and you want to tell us about it, then you can do by email us at news@theblockupdate.com, filling out the feedback form on the website, or joining our Discord. It is time for our tip of the week. And the tip of the week this week comes from Stitch Fix, who says, a tip for rolling villager trades. Hold an emerald while rolling villagers can save you from opening the UI, as they will hold either an enchanted book or a bookshelf. Piston and a lever will save you from breaking the block over and over. Bonus bug, tip, pinch. In a pinch, saplings can be used as furnace fuel. Shout out to Zap for giving me this knowledge. Everything can be used as furnace fuel.
There was a comment on the video we did the other day. You remember when I was putting slabs in as furnace fuel? Apparently, it breaks down that one charcoal gives you 8 things to smelt, while if you do the relation of turning that into slabs, you can do like 12 items.
So slabs is better than charcoal.
Yeah,
amazing.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but definitely something to check out.
Charcoal is one log, isn't it? So it takes a whole log.
Yep.
One log can be turned into 4 planks, which can then be turned into 8 slabs. So
and you get 1.5 items per slab, apparently.
Okay, so that's 12, whereas charcoal does 8. So slabs. Yeah. I think we've talked about this before. I'm pretty sure I made a jokey video about slabs are better than charcoal. I'm sure I did. I can't remember, but yeah. Wow, that sounds about right. Jeez, don't use
good
charcoal. Use slabs, especially bamboo slabs because bamboo's free. It's free money. Right? So you bamboo, you put it in the furnace and you get nothing. Turn it into slabs. Free money.
Oh my God. That might be a thing. We got to test that because I don't know if the bamboo slabs will do that.
Write that down, Jen. It's the slabs, so I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for our week in Minecraft now, where we tell you all about all of the amazing things that we've been up to inside of Minecraft this week, starting with Slack.
Aside from our collabs and the myth busting, not a lot other than starting to get back into recording tutorials.
Oh, what are you starting with? Give me some info behind the scenes.
Smart trident killers.
Oh,
trident killers that use the new calibrated skulk sensors to only activate. To only activate when mobs are in the area. Plus, the beautiful thing about those is, say you have a farm and somebody else loads it, they just walk by. Well, you know how trident killers, sometimes you have to turn them on and off and you don't know if it's running or not. Beautiful thing about that, as long as somebody loads it and something's in it, it'll run.
Didn't we talk about this ages ago? About this idea? I think so. Because I've seen actually, in fact, in our questions section, there's a big old question talking about someone doing something very similar to that as well. And I was thinking, I'm sure me and you came up with that idea on the podcast at one point.
I'm pretty sure we did. Yep. And then, the new calibrated skulk sensors, they're not perfect for Bedrock. They're not. Yeah, but it's doable. I got the tutorial coming out on Friday. It's just a basic one on how to change a trident killer to use the new calibrated skulk sensors. And the beautiful thing about it is it will always run when a mob's in the trident killer, and when there's nothing there, it doesn't run.
Nice. So your trident shouldn't fall out when you relog.
Yeah, exactly. And you shouldn't have to worry about, I'm going to AFK. Do I need to turn my trident killer on?
Yeah.
No, you just go to your AFK spot. It'll run when something gets in there.
That's a good idea. Great. That's a really good idea. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So we obviously, before I get to my week, then we did a collaboration. We're trying to do those every Friday now, aren't we? And we stole a 0 ticking kelp farm from my patrons, which we had a bit of fun with, didn't we?
Yeah. I've since learned that don't unload it while it's running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I didn't unload mine while I was running, I don't think, but I did lose a piece of sand. But interestingly, more than the sand being lost, I actually lost 4 pieces of kelp from it as well. Not like kelp that are grown, but the actual stuff on the sand. So
I've seen that exact thing happen to the one that I built because I moved mine to a different area and made it all fancy and automated with the composters and the smelters and everything. And while I was live, I put in all the kelp, I fired it up, I never left the area, and all of a sudden I go back and half the kelp's missing. I'm like,
yeah, so they do need babysitting a bit, but they are free money. So I'm not complaining. Yeah, so
there was a comment on my most recent video that went out today, actually. Somebody was saying that it did work with sugarcane and bamboo as well, but you had to put like 6 or 7 layers of sand.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, we should check that out as well tomorrow then. I also need a big old smelter, so we've got a bunch of things that we could potentially do. Not tomorrow, Friday. So,
Friday, smelter would be nice. Yep.
Write that down, Jen. Put it on the whiteboard.
Hope you're writing these things down, Jen.
Jeez. For me, this week in Minecraft has just been live streaming. I've been doing a load of marketplacey, add-on-y stuff and trying to prepare for my next tutorial video as well with add-ons, which I talked about in the bonus show. But in terms of actually being in Minecraft and doing Minecrafty things, I built a building around my portals, which is generating way too many pigmen. It's crazy, but that was all like concrete and frog lights, and I'm trying to make basically. I don't want ugly looking builds, but I'm not going for like, these are the best looking builds I've ever seen. I want simple, easy to build stuff I can just have fun with building. I really want some
back to basics.
Yeah, bright colors on this, some concrete here, some contrasting colors there, some big old chunky bits, and that's kind of what I'm going for, rather than the delicate stuff that seems to be everybody's obsessed with at the moment, is how I can make this as delicate and gradiated and use all of these fancy little items that you wouldn't expect to use. No, I'm going back to good old days and doing that. So then once I finished that, I wanted to link all of my skyscrapers and my portal building up together. So I was spent a good couple of hours in stream just fiddling about with road stuff. And it got me, I wanted to use smooth basalt for the roads, which is why I needed a super smelter. But then I realized smooth basalt's actually, the texture on that's too, when you repeat it, you put it and make a road surface out of that, it just looks like it's really obviously repeated pattern, doesn't look great. So I started mixing that up with just normal basalt, and that looks quite good on its side, obviously, so you're not getting the end bits, and that looks pretty good. But the issue is, so obviously all my buildings, the doors are at ground level, because doors you can't put up half a slab. But I want my paths to be half a slab above the road surface, so it looks like there's, you've got the road surface and then you've got a half slab up and you've got the smooth stone slab pavement. But then that means you're either dropping down into your building because it's higher up than your building is, or you're going up another half slab to go in the building, which does make a bit of sense. But the level I was doing it, if I'd have done it that way, I'd have had to dig out the entire area another block down, which is not overly ideal. So what I ended up doing is having the slabs at one level and then stairs down to the road, and then the basalt for the bottom of for the road there. And it's a bit too much. And we were talking, I really wish there was something like basalt that would be available in slabs. And the closest thing we've got is either blackstone or deep slate. But the blackstone slabs are all polished variants, and the deep slate slabs are all they've got really lovely textures. I love deep slate, but they don't look rough enough to be roads. And I was trying to think, the only slabs we've got that are rough are andesite slabs, stone slabs, and cobblestone slabs. We don't really have anything other than that would really work, which is a real shame. So I think we need more slabs. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I've also been thinking, so do you know I've got my block layers add-on, which does dirt, gravel, and sand block layers. I've been thinking more and more that gravel and sand block layers should be in the game, because gravel, if you want to lay a drive at home, you don't put a meter of gravel down on top of the mud. You put a thin layer of gravel down, right? And you level it out to make everything nice and smooth and flat. And with sand as well, you don't put, if you're putting sand somewhere, if you're digging a hole and you put in, whatever you're using sand for, making a sand pit for the kids, or like doing construction work, you're not putting a meter's worth of sand in an area. You're spreading it out and you're leveling stuff out with it. And I just think, why is that not in the game? We've got snow layers. Why won't they give us sand and gravel layers? I think they're, at this point, essential, considering how detailed and fancy most people are getting with the game now. And you've got to expect that. The game's been around so long. It's gone beyond the point of what I just said I'm trying to get back into, of the simple stuff. Most proper players and builders want those extra details so that they can really make their build unique and come to life. And we don't seem to be getting anything like that. The closest thing we got was the hanging signs, but we don't really tend to very often get blocks that can really bring out a new aspect of building. And the things that stand out for me are the lanterns and chains and the copper rods. I can't think of anything else over the last few updates we've really had that allows you to add that extra level of details. I know we got, go back far enough, we got coral fans, which you use quite a lot.
But that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that was Aquatic Update 1.14. So it does feel like we really need some more
detail.
Yeah, more detail in stuff. And I think that's such an obvious, easy one to do. Why not? Sand
Oh, yeah,
comes...
but they gave us glow item frames.
We go, glow lichen, glow lichen. So yeah, anyway, that's what I wish we had, Slack, which is convenient because that takes us into the wish list. Okay, it is time to go into the wish list. I see in our wishes the same ones that we wrote last week. Have you actually got a wish this week?
No.
Okay. So we'll go straight into the community wish list then. We'll start with Squirrelicious, who says, I would like the decorative pots to be dyeable. I think this would work. To work them into build with different colour schemes. They could have the same colour palette as terracotta with an appropriate shade / colour used for decoration so they pop. What do you think, Slack?
Make it so.
Make it so. Yep. Yeah, good idea. Okay, brilliant. Yep. Well done, Stitch. Stitch Fix in my brain. Squirrelicious. Good job.
Right. Purple Hoser's up next and says, make Minecraft Java more performance efficient. I mean, come on. I have a GTX 1650, a Ryzen 7, and I get like 40 frames per second. Bedrock, I get like 100 to 120. That's just annoying.
Oh, Purple. First, you don't want to spend $90 on a game, and now you're complaining Java Edition's not fast enough. That's been a thing forever. And that's the reason that Bedrock Edition became a thing. Because Bedrock Edition, although Java will run on most devices, it's so badly optimized as a programming language, it's just almost impossible to make it any better than it is, which is why they decided to rewrite the entire thing in a different programming language to put it on other devices so it can be more optimized. Bedrock Edition is faster for that very reason. They've spent years trying to make Java Edition more optimized. It's about as good as it can be, I believe. And like Slack said, there are mods out there like Optifine that help, but that's really all that's doing. Is just dropping down what you actually see in the game in order to do that. There's no real black magic going on with any of these mods. They're just saying, okay, well, let's just cut this out. Let's stop that from happening. Let's reduce this a little bit in order to do that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. On Bedrock Edition, one of the reasons we get more frames per second is there's a lot less mobs, and we don't see mobs from as far away as you do on Java Edition. And, there's a whole bunch of reasons why we don't have a spawn, like a ticking area at spawn. There's loads of reasons why Bedrock's more optimized, because it's missing a lot of the things that Java Edition's got, and it's coded in a more optimized thingy. So it's
language.
Yeah. It's not that they can't be bothered to make it more efficient. It is as efficient as it's probably ever going to get. And the more they add into Java Edition, the worse it's going to get over time. There you go. Yep. Oh, look, Slack. Look who it is with the next one.
I'm glad that's you, because that's a book.
Stitch Fix. Foxy, how's your day? Okay, feedback from the enchantment table. They keep talking about knowledge books. Totally different idea, sort of going along with that. The enchantment table needs at least 15 bookshelves to get max enchants. But what if instead of adding the bookshelves, you had to require knowledge book, say, mending, right? Once you acquired the mending knowledge book, you would read it, and now you can apply it on the enchantment table. With enchants that have more than one level, you need to acquire that knowledge book, say, fortune, and you read it once to gain a level 1 knowledge. Could possibly be obtained from villagers, but only at level 1. Could be found in loot chests, say the Stronghold Library, villager library huts, or a new library structure. Not fully thought out idea. I'm sure you guys will tweak it to your liking. Much love. Keep up the good work. Do you know what, Slack? Before you poo-poo this one, we've talked about for ages that with villagers how they are, the enchantment table's totally pointless these days, right?
Uh-huh.
Now,
yep.
I don't mind Stitch Fix's idea, but I've got a better one. What if?
I'm listening.
Obviously, for an enchantment table to work, you've got to put bookcases around it. We've now got bookshelves that you can put books in. What if the books that were in the bookshelves are the enchantments you could get on the enchantment table?
Okay, so you still have the vanilla one that gives you random if you just use random bookshelves. But say if you want to have the selective enchantments, you just...
No, I think
the same as an anvil?
No, I think they should only give you, on the enchantment table, should only give you options for what books you've got in your bookshelves around the enchantment table. So if you've only got a fortune book in there, you can only get a fortune enchantment. No random ones. Yes, it will give you multiple if you've got multiple books in there, potentially, like it does now. So it's still random from that extent. But you could say, rather than having like pistons to push bookshelves out the way to get different level enchants, if you really want, feather falling or whatever you do, you go, right, I want feather falling on my boots. That's all I want. I'm going to put feather falling in that slot. Actually, I want feather falling, depth strider, and this, that, and the other on there. I'm going to put all those in, and I'm going to really, really hope that I get level 3 enchantment and it's got more than one of those on there. I would much rather use that. Because then at least you've got a chance of getting what you want. Like, I got everything I wanted, but I needed protection on there, not fire protection.
But that's an anvil.
It's not an anvil. It's still random. So let's say you fill the bookshelves up with all of the stuff that you would need for footwear, and you put a pair of boots in there. It still might only give you feather falling. It still might only give you protection 3, as long as that book existed. It's not necessarily going to give you the ones that's in there, but it can only pull from those enchantments. Rather than it just being based on how many levels you've got, because that's stupid. Why should the number of levels you've got determine what enchantments are available? If you've gone and acquired the enchanted books and put them in the bookshelf surrounding the enchantment table, the enchantment should be able to pull from the books that are in. It just makes sense to me.
Now, does it use the book out of the bookshelf when you use it, though?
Oh, that's a good idea. But then that is like an anvil.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was thinking with it. It's like an anvil. So, okay, so let's you put 15 bookshelves down. Let's knock one of the bookshelves out, and let's put a chiseled bookshelf in there, and let's put a book of mending in there. So now anything I enchant will always get mending on.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No. Okay, forget the normal bookshelves. You're only putting chiseled bookshelves around so you can put books in there. So you've gone and collected a bunch of books from librarians or whatever, and let's say you've got a mending book, a protection 4 book, what else do you put on your chest plate? Thorns book, and you put those in, and you put your chest plate in. It might not offer you mending. It might only offer you protection 3. It might offer you all 3 as a random one with a level 3 enchantment. There's no guarantee, but if it's going to give you enchantments, it can only get them from the books that exist in there. It's not the exact. It won't give you all of them. So you've got your 3 levels on the enchantment table, haven't you? You've got like level 1, level 2, level 3 enchantment that you can pick from. And you can see the first enchantment you're going to get, but sometimes it'll give you multiple, yeah?
So it's a chance that it'll give you from those.
Yeah. So if you only put a mending book in there, then I think it needs to just be like, no, you need at least 10 books in here, or 15 books, whatever, before it'll actually start giving you any enchantments. It needs a bit of a library.
Okay, all right.
So you can't just cheese it and say, well, I only want protection 4, so I'm only going to put protection 4 book
well,
in.
but let's go into that then. Okay, you got 6 slots in a chiseled bookshelf. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so say, what is that? What's 100 divided by 6 roughly?
20.
20.
No,
20?
less than.
No.
30. No,
Okay.
15.
15, 30, 60, 90. Okay, so that's close enough. Okay, so say for every book that's in
16.667, sorry.
Okay, we'll max it at 90%. Okay, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Each book. Okay, so you get 6 slots in a chiseled bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if I put 1 mending book in there, I get a 15% chance to roll mending on it. If I put 6, I get a 90% chance.
No, it's too easy to get mending books.
Well, then overhaul the villagers at the same time.
But this is a nice way of fixing the enchantment table without needing to change the villagers. This makes the enchantment table a lot more interesting.
I think it's interesting to the degree that the more you add in there, the more your chance could get, but it can never get above 90%. This is my compromise.
Yeah, but I don't like it.
I don't like yours.
Okay, let me just run you through this scenario. You want to do some enchanting, okay? You've got a handful of books. You put your enchantment table down. You put a couple of chisel bookshelves near it, and you fill those chisel bookshelves up with whatever enchanted books you've got. And let's say they're all the ones that you would love to have for your feet. And the enchantment table is like, okay, there's 10 books in here, so I'm going to offer you a level 1 enchantment. Or there's 20 books in these bookshelves, I'm going to offer you level 2. There's 30 books altogether in these bookshelves, level 3. What you're doing there is the game's going, we're not letting you cheese it. We're still making it be random. They can't be the same book. They've got to be different books, right? Could be mending. It could be protection 1, protection 2, protection 3, protection 4 books. But the enchantment table's going, if you want a big lot, you want good enchantments, you want a multitude of enchantments on here, on this item, then you've got to put in more big books, which means the chances of you getting exactly what you want are less. So it's still giving you that sort of enchanted, how it is at the moment, randomish feel, but you also feel like you've got some control over it. So you just don't have to put Bane of Arthropods in there. You don't have to put Curse of Binding in there or Curse of Vanishing in there. You can be relatively selective, so have some control over it, but realistically, it's still going to be quite random.
It's going to be quite random, but in that regard, though, let's say it only pulls from the selected books from the bookshelves, is what you're talking about. So what happens if I fill every chiseled bookshelf with sharpness 5?
Well, it will say you haven't put enough books in here because you're only allowed 1 of each type.
Okay, so by the time you put 1 of each type of book in there, are you not just making the same exact thing again? So when you go to craft a sword, if you can only have 1 protection...
You are, but let's say you wanted to cheese it a little bit. So, okay, I want to craft a sword that I know's got sharpness 5 on it, and hopefully a couple of the other ones as well, maybe unbreaking or whatever. I'm gonna fill these bookshelves up with protection enchantments for a chest plate, and then put the sword ones in there as well. The enchantment
I don't like that.
The enchanting table will go, oh yeah, you've got enough books in here, enough different books to be of level 3 enchantment. So I'm going to give you 1 of those things. Now, you might only get unbreaking on it. You might only get sharpness 5 on it, or you might get both. I still think that's great. I think it's a really good idea.
No, because that's so manipulatable then.
So it's villagers and anvils. What difference does it make?
No.
That's where you get your books from in the first place.
Yeah, no.
I think it'd be much more fun.
The whole system would need to be overhauled. Yeah, because no.
Well, I'll try my best.
Sorry, Stitch. No.
I thought it was a great idea.
No.
Fine.
Tiny Raccoon's up next and says, I wish that we could get Jeff on the podcast to give us all the juicy 100% real Mojang insider info on all the new stuff and things. Also, another wish would be to add parity of behavior packs, not stopping achievements. Then again, that would mean Jeff would have to fix achievements first. Dear God, where do I even begin with that? Okay, Jeff, not real, obviously. That's a person that we made up. Parity for behavior packs, not stopping achievements. As much as you want that, and you're comparing advancements to achievements, which are not the same thing. And the Xbox is not going to let you mess around with their achievement system. They'll straight up ban you for that. So when you see somebody in Java go into creative and give themselves, whatever, and they unlock an advancement, you're never going to get that on Bedrock. Never. You're never going to get that in that way. And the achievement system is not going to change. We're not going to get no easy way to do that. I mean, if you're really wanting to do stuff with your achievements, just download pre-worlds for it. And you can already get everything done there. The best you could hope for would be advancements, which looks like they may be going that way, considering that they're now adding in the stupid recipe book things. But yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Slack. Yeah. Yeah. It would be lovely if they added in advancements, but then that would completely erase the point of having achievements. So they would have to come up with a whole new set of completely unique achievements to Bedrock Edition that didn't interfere with advancements. And that's doable, time played, collecting this, downloading this many maps from the marketplace. There are things they could do. Look at any game that's got trophies or advancements or things like that from those places. There's a whole bunch of different things they could do, but that would totally nerf their existing system. And I would love them to do that. I would much rather have advancements and have it per world, because it gives you an achievable. You can set out to go, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It gives you a reason to play in a world. It gives you a.
Yep.
Well, it's an advancement. It's advancing you through the game. It gives you a route to play the game, and it's great. You can see ones you haven't unlocked. Whereas, as it currently stands at the moment, yes, you can do that, but it doesn't really make you feel like you want to do it, because they're just per person, and you're like, and half of them don't give you any information. It's like, oh, breed 10 cats. Well, or go and visit every biome in the game. Well, how do I know which ones I've been to? You know? So, yeah, I would love it, Tiny Raccoon, if they would do that. But this is Xbox we're talking about, not Mojang. This is Microsoft and PlayStation, people that use these advancements and achievement systems in order to get people to play the games more and buy the consoles because they want to increase their gamer score. And we can see just how obsessed the player base is with getting their achievements, that they hate the fact that you can't get them when you've got cheats enabled, or when you've got I must get, more than anything else, questions wise, how do I put this pack on with achievements, or will this pack disable achievements? Because people want them. And Xbox and PlayStation know people want them, and genuinely people will buy games to get them. Xbox even have like monthly things that you can do. If you play this game for this many hours and you play that game for that many hours and you do this, you can earn gamer score, and then you can transfer those in and you can win a prize. So they're not gonna make it easy.
You remember when the achievements first came to the Xbox, because we went from Xbox, I think it was 360s where they started introducing achievements. How they were originally talking that it was going to be a currency. So you did this in the game, you earn these points, and you could eventually redeem these in the store for things.
You can still do that. You can still redeem them.
Yeah, but not to the point that they were originally promoting it as. Like it was going to be, yeah.
But no, there was, again, I know I talk about them a lot, but the Computer Game Show podcast a couple of years ago, one of the presenters on that was deeply, deeply grilled and ridiculed by the other hosts because in his free time, he was basically paying for and downloading all of these particular games that were needed to get these extra levels of gamer score that were like Microsoft was saying it every month. If you do this and you do that and you do the other, you'll get extra points. And he was doing it for years. Cost him an absolute fortune to buy these games and play these games, but he would do exactly what he needed to do. Play it to this point, put this many hours in, get these achievements, get the score. And then he traded it in for like a mechanical keyboard that was cost about $150. All these points.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the Steam does that.
Yeah, Steam does it. They've got Marketplace.
Yeah, where you can literally sell off your achievements for cash money.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you can get the achievement again. Oh.
Yeah. So, that's why it's important to them that people can't get them through cheaty means. Although it is possible. We know it's possible, but it's not supposed to be. Okay, Whitebush is next, saying a discussion on how this would be possible. Minecraft Bedrock modded edition. I like this one, Slack. You ready?
I'm listening.
I know there are issues with all the different consoles, marketplaces, and support needs for this to work, but what if Mojang had an edition that kept up with the vanilla but was not... But hang on, let me start this again. What if Mojang had an edition that kept up with vanilla but was separate to allow mods, and users had to acknowledge that Mojang's not responsible for the author's mods that use this edition? I know most of the people on my server would pay for another version of Minecraft if we could use mods, even if we still had to pay for the mods themselves. I'd like to hear your thoughts how to make modded Bedrock possible. Whitebush, have you heard of Java edition? It's a completely different version of the game that's kept up with vanilla but allows you to use mods. You don't have to have a third version of the game, modded Bedrock. You can just have Java edition, mate. And it's free with Bedrock edition. It doesn't cost you anything.
Unless you want mods off the marketplace.
Yeah, that really made me laugh. Oh, geez. Yeah. The reason mods don't exist for Bedrock, there's a multitude of reasons. One is obviously the code is a lot harder to break into than Java programming language. It's compiled in a different way. It's a lot harder to read. The ridiculous rate that Mojang put out updates for Bedrock Edition as well means that even if you've spent like 3 weeks cracking the code for one version, by the time you've got the next one, it's still changed again. You've got to do it again. There's not enough of a community around there to do it. There are modders that exist. There are mods for Bedrock Edition that exist. There are people that crack the code month in, month out and make these mods possible, but they don't. There's not a big community around it, so they're not well known. I think they've even got like, what's the really popular Java mod? One of the like AE2 ones with the electricity and stuff, running perfectly well on Bedrock Edition. But yeah, it's there's not enough of a community of modders around, so we don't have mod packs, mod launchers, and things to make it easy to get into there. So it's not. We don't need another version of Bedrock for mods. It would be nice if the community could get together and find a good way of doing it, and if Microsoft turned a blind eye to the fact that it's against the terms and conditions to crack the code, it would be great. But that's what Java Edition's for.
Next one says, good day. I wish there was a book that told you how to use redstone. A dum-dum like me can't wrap my head around it. You know, there's actually several that have been put out there. There's this thing called YouTube where there's tons upon tons of videos. And the books themselves, oh my God. Mumbo did a video here a while back when he came back to a Java edition again. And he literally grabbed the Redstone for Dummies book. He bought the real thing and built some of the circuits on there, and he was more confused by them than what people are by default. Redstone just takes time to learn. There's no easy way.
Go to Google, right? It's a website. It's been around a while, but you've obviously not heard of it. And you can type in stuff, and it gives you results for things that you're looking for. And if you type in Minecraft Redstone books, you'll find, like, if you click on shopping, it's really good, this, actually, because you can get pictures and maps and shopping, all sorts of stuff. I know, pretty new for people, but it's been around a while. It's not many people have heard of it. Just type in what you want. It's easy to remember, google.com. And there's like millions of Redstone books that you can get that'll teach you all about Redstone, which is great. I didn't know it existed, but I found out the other day, and I was like, wow, well, how long has this resource been there for? Do you have to pay for it? It must be expensive, something like that. Apparently it's free. So I thought I was on a free trial. It's totally free. Who would have thought it?
That's my favorite thing ever. Oh, I do that to my family all the time. Can you look up how to do this? There's this thing out there called Google. You can look it up yourself, because that's exactly what I would do. Just go to Google. Sorry.
I don't understand why it isn't people's first thing. Maybe I'm just weird. But if I ever think, I wonder, or I want, or what if this, the first thing I do is Google it. The first thing. And then if I can't find anything, then I start looking at other options and like speaking to other people that might be in the know about it to see. But Google, it's just there. It's got everything. It's literally at your fingertips. Jeez.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, good day.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but you just caught built up aggression about that one. We've all experienced that. My favorite thing, oh God, that reminds me of sitting down and watching a movie or something for the first time with somebody. You're watching it, I'm watching it, first time ever. And it's like being 2 minutes in and going, what's that guy doing? How do I know any more than you? How do I know any more than you?
Why don't you Google it? Just ask, find out. I do that. I can't help it. I'll be watching a film now, and I've even wanted to do this at the cinema, but refrained because obviously you shouldn't. But I want to pull IMDb out, my app, and who's that actor? Who's that actress? What year did this come out? What rating did this get? What? And I'm watching and going, oh, I pause it a second, IMDb. Oh, okay.
Oh, I tell you, that's why I love Amazon Video here recently. I didn't notice it, but when you're watching stuff on Amazon, Yeah, like you immediately like hover over the screen, and like if the actor's on screen, it tells you who it is.
Yeah, if you pause it
It's like,
on the app as well, it's just like, oh yeah, this person's on the screen, this person's on the screen. Do you want to click on this to find out more about them? Yeah.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah.
Like feel like Peanut.
Mark Bees says, hi guys, while watching the latest podcast, I had an idea. So Minecraft is a game. Sorry, I've read this one as well. I'm so sorry, everybody. These are brilliant. So Minecraft has a game mode called Adventure. I don't know why it exists, so my idea is to change it to something that looks like an adventure, something like an RPG world where you allow a bunch of quests in which these missions will make you travel around the world to get special items, fight against mobs while you learn some basic farms, and then fight the dragon, explore the islands to the ends, invoke the wither, and finally teach you how to make a beacon or something like that. Mark B's, the idea of an RPG in Minecraft would be fantastic, as we talked about last week, but the adventure mode is very, 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 very useful. We cannot change
We're doing exactly what you just said.
Yeah. When a player is in adventure mode, they can play Minecraft, but they can't break blocks. They can't destroy things. They can't really interact with the world other than like opening doors and pressing buttons and killing mobs. They can't mine. They can't place blocks. And you might think, well, what's the point in that? That's incredibly valuable when you're trying to create an experience for a player as a map maker or a marketplace partner or a modder, where you want the player to go do an RPG style thing. You want them to interact with the world in the way that you want them to. There are some flaws with it. Like, for some reason, you can still break paintings in adventure mode, which doesn't make sense at all. And paintings are what everybody uses for like their logos and instructions in all these maps. And like you just go around and smash all the paintings and all of a sudden everything's broken. But yeah, adventure mode is incredibly useful for a lot of reasons. So we're not getting rid of that. Absolutely not. But an RPG mode, yeah, I'm well up for it. Built into Minecraft.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark. It's funny day. We appreciate the questions, wish list, feedbacks, everything. It's just
what if they had a version of Minecraft, right? Hear me out. This is a good idea. No one's ever thought of. And you could play on your phone with your fingers.
That's a rubbish idea.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You see me trying to hold my phone with these sausages? Yeah, no.
All right. And what if we could play it on PlayStation?
No, just get a computer like, all the Minecraft players have been using for years.
All right, then. What if there was a mode where you didn't have to mine anything, you could just get them out of a box and just put whatever you want anywhere? Call it creative mode or something.
No, just play the game. Go mine the blocks and get the blocks you want. Don't be cheating.
Oh, all right. Then. I'll see you later. Which way is it off the screen? Who's next? Slap.
Slap?
No, Slack. There's a silent K on that one. I didn't mean to. It's an accident. Shut up, you. You were doing your in the bonus show with your twitching and your stop squeaking. You're telling me off for saying.
Look, I didn't come in and mess up somebody's animation on stream the other day. I'm just saying.
I'm so sorry. I felt so bad about that. To give people reference. So I got a message from Jen first thing in the morning going, hey, Puka's live. He's doing an animation for Slack. It's got you in it. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll go along, have a look. And there's doing this animation. And Puka's like, if anyone's got any suggestions for anything, let me know. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was messing about. You know what I'm like, just coming up with stupid ideas. And he was taking it seriously. Okay, I'll do that then. I'll do it. So he was like it was obviously made you wave at one point, your character. And he was like, right, now it's time to make Foxy wave. And I just put, and he did something and it went wrong. And I was like, oh, do we like the incredible, like inflatable arm flailing waving guy? So then he stuck that and I'm like, oh no. So, and then I was
It's
like,
fine.
oh, geez, Slack's paying for this.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Right.
Not my
Back
fault.
on.
He shouldn't listen to me. I just wanted to interact. Oops. My bad.
Right. Next, Genfire. Some sort of mob proofing, but for passive mobs that doesn't involve having to carpet slab glass over an entire area. Maybe a beacon effect or something. Chickens, get off my lawn. Sorry about the book, but I hope you enjoyed my crazy thoughts. Jen, there's these things called boats. Bedrock Edition has this thing called a density check.
No, that's not a solution. That's a plaster over a broken leg or a bandage over a broken leg. It's not a solution.
They're complaining about mobs, passive mobs in general, that they don't want chickens there. Well, you don't want no more chickens there. Would it get like 4 of them, put them in a boat in the area? Done. Problem solved.
Yeah, but then no, it's not a solution. No, we've talked about this before. In fact, I think we've even got these in the good ideas bin, like having beacon effects that stop hostile mobs from spawning. Yeah, it'd be great if you could stop. Like if you could have control over your base in your area. I would like an arena, an outside arena, and I want it filled with horses and pigs and things. Okay, don't put grass in it or build it in a different biome. No, I shouldn't have to do that. I want it there. Why can't I put something down that stops them spawning?
Well, you're okay. You're talking about putting something down. So you have to go through the work of let's say you can craft a beacon using like a chicken head, and no chickens will spawn in that area. Now you have to go fight a wither. You have to go through all this crazy necessary stuff, and then you have to get the stuff for a beacon base, and that only stops just the chickens. Now you need to do it for cows. Now you need to do it for horses. Now you need to do it for this. Now you need to do it for that.
What if instead of all that, right? You could make fake grass. Or a grass that looked like a block that looks like grass that isn't actual spawnable grass. I know there's moss, but moss is not the same, is it? I like grass. I like the dirt sides to it. What if you could have a block like that and then just put that down everywhere and stop the chickens from spawning?
Yeah, you hate grass because mobs spawn on it. You hate deep slate because it's too difficult to mine.
No, I don't mind mob spawning, but like we talked about this a lot before. You get to a point in the game where you want to feel in control. You want to feel like you've got power over the game. You want to feel that freedom of the sandbox, which is what the game is. And there's a lot of things that you don't have control over that I think maybe you could, like being able to insta-mine deep slate or being able to stop mobs from spawning in certain areas. Why not? It doesn't hurt anyone, does it?
I get it. I get it. I'm just having fun. I mean, that goes.
Hurt my feelings.
That goes. No, deal with it. It'll be fine. The best that I could say on that is I'm pretty sure it's already in the good idea bin is the beacons that can be crafted with the ability to stop mob spawning. That's the best I could think of.
Yeah, it is a tricky one. You kind of don't want it to be a beacon effect here, because then you've got a big ugly beacon hidden around somewhere. It would be nicer if there was just like it would be nice almost if the game recognized that, there's changes to the world here. This is an area that someone's building in, so we just won't spawn mobs within this radius. Kind of like how a village is recognized as a village because of where the beds and stuff are, or how, like, if you've got fences around mobs, they won't despawn because they're in a fence. So the game obviously already does this, like, recognizing things. If it could just recognize, hey, look, this is someone's base area because there's things being built in this location, so we just won't spawn mobs there.
I know what we need. We need a feature off 7 Days to Die. They have a land claim block, and once you put down a land claim, nothing will spawn in that area.
So basically the beacon effect thing, but just from a block that's easier to hide.
Yeah, just it's player specific, and you can only have 1, 2, or maybe 3 of them, and they only take up so much of an area. But yeah. Say that you put a land claim block down, and in that area, it did say if your world's a Sim 4 world, it did just simulation distance in that area.
That's cool. That's not a bad idea. Alternatively, slightly more Minecrafty idea. What if you surrounded your area by a wall? Anything within the wall, it considers this is a base, so we won't spawn things in it.
Maybe, but I like the original idea with a bed. But then again, you get an iron farm set up, and then you're not spawning stuff
Plus
around
for other
that.
things. Maybe the land clone block's the best way of going around that then.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a base block. You could make it really Minecrafty. I'm sure Mojang, they're clever.
Yeah.
They could come up with something that was like a fun block. I mean, we've got respawn anchors and lodestone. Well, lodestone!
There you go.
The lodestone's underused, isn't it? What if the lodestone... Because that's what you use that to find your way back, don't you? You use a compass on that to point you back to that direction. What if you put a lodestone in an area and that says this is a base? This is a point where we don't want mob spawning. We don't want things going on.
No. Could you target a lodestone with a command block?
No.
You remember how we used to do mob despawning?
Yeah. No. You could, unless you knew its exact location. But with custom blocks, you can run. You could run events from that into scripting to do that.
Yeah.
So you could have a ticking block that basically stopped mob spawning. So it'd have to be a custom block. But yeah, basically you could do that.
Yeah. It'd be nice if that had a vanilla feature to it. I mean, the lodestone literally is like the perfect one. Because isn't the lodestone the one you can charge as well? No, that's a
respawn anchor.
Hey!
I'm going to put lodestone / custom block to prevent mob spawning.
Yeah.
As land claim thing.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got an actual one good idea this podcast. Good. Okay.
No, we had another one up there at the beginning, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Squirrelicious, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Matthew's next, saying, firstly, I would just like to say thank you to Foxy for all the great add-ons and packs he creates. I play on a realm with my kids and we use mob heads and mini blocks and they have brought a huge amount of fun and enjoyment to the game for us. For my wish list thing, I'm not sure if it's been requested or discussed here, but I would like a way to have a nether portal made horizontally so you could jump into it and enter the nether similar way to go to the end. Thanks again, Foxy, for all you do. It's much appreciated. That would require you going through instantly as well, because otherwise you can fall through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people asking for stuff like this before, like horizontal portals and things like that. Is there any...
Isn't that weird? Because they take you to the end instantly. But the nether, they do the slow nausea effect.
Yeah, it is weird that we've got two completely different functions for traveling between dimensions.
Yep.
It would be nice if it was instant, the nether portal, like it is in creative.
Now, the one that goes to the end, is that instant because the fact that it's going to spawn you on a platform it's not necessarily always safe.
No, but the big difference is there isn't a portal the other side that you're going to keep popping back through. So nether portal doesn't want to be instant, because how many times in creative have you gone through, flown the wrong way through it, turned around and wanted to go back, but then you end up back in the overworld again? Whereas you want to run through it. Whereas the end, you go through that portal, you're coming back through a different portal, so it doesn't matter that way.
Yeah.
So it could be a bit of a problem. The other thing is, if you're going through it horizontally, the end one makes sense because it's putting you in the exact same place every single time.
Yeah.
If you build a horizontal portal, is the one on the nether side also horizontal? And if so, how do you know you're coming through? Anything could happen. Over lava?
Exactly. It puts you up above a lava lake. Straight into a lava lake. Oh, God.
They would have to come through vertically. In which case, you're going to end up inside blocks and all sorts, potentially. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. If they got it right, it would work. But I think I don't think we need horizontal ones.
No, not at this point. No.
Okay. Good.
Lorenzo's up next. It says, I wish thunder was not as loud at Y-59 as it is when I'm walking around above ground.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good idea instantly, and the good idea has been that one. There's so many stupid things like that exist. We've talked about sounds and stuff like that millions of times and how it doesn't make any sense. Like when you're underwater, everything's just as clear as it is if you're not.
Oh, you mean like cave sounds happening when you're walking across the plains?
Yeah, because you go under a leaf block.
No. You don't even have to go under a leaf block anymore.
Do you remember when they were played on repeat? Do you remember that the
Yes.
update came out? Every like second there was another
Yes.
cave sound.
Yes. That was on season 2, the Netherrack Mountain. That was the most annoying update ever. Yes.
And that was before we got audio sliders, wasn't it?
Yes.
Jeez.
But I remember taking the sounds out of my pack just to make that go away. Yeah.
Squirrelicious is back with another good idea, apparently.
Oh, we'll see.
I wish the rivers actually made sense with the new terrain. Rivers are supposed to flow from mountain springs and lakes downhill. Minecraft rivers are all at sea level, which carves massive chasms through mountainous landscape. Yes, I want lakes, and I would like flowing rivers that actually make sense and go down to the sea. That would be nice. I think it would be an absolute nightmare to code, but yes, that would be nice.
Yeah, I was thinking in Code Point, they'll never give it to us, but yeah, I'm for it. Yeah, go for it. Sure.
Yeah, the most you're going to get is I like sometimes you have a bit of lava sticking out the side of a cliff. Yeah. And it just pours there. You'll just get that from the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
With a bit of water. Hopefully it'll run all the way down.
Stitch Fix is next.
The last one as well.
Okay.
Just come in. It's hot off the press, this one, Slack.
Property line block. Like a fence post, you put in all 4 corners like they do in real life for property lines.
We just solved the problem. Stitch Fix.
Yeah. Why you gotta try to come in and change it? We just fixed it for you.
Jeez.
Unappreciative, I swear.
If you've got a wish, then you can ask us for that wish to come true. Generally speaking, about Minecraft, ideally, because that's what this is all about. And if you send us a wish by emailing us at news@theblockupdate.com or filling in the feedback form or joining the Discord, we 100% guarantee that eventually, at some point, it will be included in the game, unless it isn't.
Unless we argue about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about your chiseled bookshelf enchanting station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have to agree it's a good idea first, and then we 100% guarantee it definitely will eventually get it into the game, unless it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right, on to our final section. It is questions time. We got a bunch. Do you want to start this time, Slack?
Yeah, with a potent place here that says the egg and the snowball landing in the same place says that they have a max distance, and that's the same. Probably more for podcasts, but wonder if it's coded in game. Is that something you could look into, Foxy? If it is coded, it would would it then be possible to change the max distance of snowballs? Could be used as a guide to ender pearls.
I'm just looking now. An egg has a projectile behavior that has power, gravity, and angle offset. So yes, you could give it more power, you could give it less or more gravity, and you could give it a different angle on the offset. So I'm just going to have a look at the difference between the snowball, which we were playing with, and the ender pearl. Now, I'm not looking at the most current version. Oh, I am looking at the most current version of this. Am I? No, I'm not. I'm looking at very old versions of this. Hang on. One moment, please. Your call is important to us. Don't disappear.
Please hang up and try your call again.
No, don't hang up.
Dial has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
No, I'm still here. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Error code 404.
No.
Not found.
No, we're still here. Right, I need ender pearl. Ender pearl, and I need a snowball. Not a snow golem, snowball. Okay, so the ender pearl has... Oh, interesting. Huh. If the game rule mob spawning is false, right? An ender pearl has different properties than if mob spawning is true.
Was it heavier because it carries an endermite?
No, it doesn't have the teleport thing, apparently. Oh, it does. Teleport owner. Oh, it doesn't have the chance to spawn in an endermite. That's why. Okay. So, yeah, an ender pearl has power of 1.5, gravity of 0.025, an inertia of 1, and a liquid inertia of 1, whereas a snowball has a power of 1.5, gravity of 0.03, so slightly more gravity, and it doesn't have any inertia. So that's why the snowball and the ender pearl have slightly different gravity according to this. And now if I look at an egg, which we knew was slightly different from the snowball as well, that has apparently exactly the same as the snowball in this. So it must be the...
Well, no, the egg and the... the longer distance. That's weird. What changed?
There is an offset to the snowball of minus 0.1, whereas there isn't on an egg or an ender pearl. So the snowball's actually coming out of the player from slightly lower down.
Huh.
So there you go.
Interesting.
Why they're all different? Nobody knows. But now we do. Okay.
Yep.
Next. See it. It's 360. Says, late game player here. Just wanted to share a personal... Oh, yeah, this is quite a long one. Just wanted to share a personal build challenge I set for myself in survival. Excuse me. I need a drink. Hang on. Oh, that's very dry mouth then. It was awful. Sorry. My apologies, peeps. I had always wanted to attempt this challenge, but was unable to achieve it until I got Foxy's armor stand tool add-on. Sincerely brilliant. I wanted to see how much AFK XP could be generated if I could utilize the entire mob cap. Starting with the Guardian farm, I added 4 of Golden Helmet's drowned funnels to the east and west, and then added 4 of Silent Whisperer's general mob farms to the north and south. Finally finishing with 4 Portal Piglin gold farms near the centre of the build. I created what I call an XP reactor, and my XP is at 410 and climbing as I write this. The trick was deciding a new trident killer that only turns on when a mob enters and operates independently of each other. Sound familiar? I have 48 of these new trident killers that are reactive and very efficient with computing cycles. I just thought to share this with the 2 of my favourite podcasters. Are there any build challenges you set for yourself being long-time players? No.
Not anymore. Not on Sim 4 worlds. Starting to on Sim 6 worlds.
I did a little bit of that on season 2 where I had that like chunked laid out mob farm area, and I funneled everything to the middle into the water streams and made a storage system out of that. That was quite good fun. I quite enjoyed doing that. But no, to be honest, at this point in time, I find the bigger a project is, the more off-putting it feels to want to even attempt it, because I just think I can't be bothered. I've played Minecraft too many times to want to spend another 4 hours trying to build another mob farm that's ginormous, or build another this that's ginormous. I'd much rather make small, efficient mob farms that are going to just give me what I need, rather than ridiculously over-the-top projects that give me everything I'm going to need for the next 10 years in 10 seconds. Sometimes it's fun to do that, but I'd much rather do that in creative and as just a show-off thing than actually build it in survival.
As a show, building them in survival, they've lost their appeal. I want to have fun with the game, and building big farms, especially if you're doing them solo anymore, I don't find it fun no more.
No. Mm-mm. No, not at all.
Then again, we play seasonal based stuff where every time we turn around, every 6 months to a year, we got to rebuild all of our farms again.
True.
So the first couple of seasons, it's nice. About 3 or 4 in, you get tired of it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Slack, because Whitebush's question is quite apt for what we've just said there. So would you like to read it?
Would you two consider doing a long-term world instead of starting over each time there's a new season? Just an observation. I could be way off, but some of your lack of motivation could be like myself. I like building something, especially farms, once and just continuing to enjoy it instead of building it again. I personally think a long-term world with the chemistry you two have would do well for your channel.
I don't think that would work. The thing is that Slack and my content is 100% driven by making YouTube videos, and our channels are greatly improved by building farms. So as much as we might be sick of building the same farms over and over again, we need to in order to keep our channels growing and moving forward. It's the
best thing that could happen for our channels right now would be a TB reset and we restart building all the farms.
Exactly, yeah. Realistically, if the viewers would watch it, we would be better off resetting every couple of months, building all the farms over again, but slightly differently. Well, that would be pretty boring for the long-term viewers, and it would be pretty boring for us. So a long-term world where we've already built all the farms, what would we do?
Yep. Well, I'm not going to call out any content creators out there, but there's a group of them out there. You've seen them. I've seen them. Everybody's seen them. They start a new SMP of some kind. They play it for about 3 months. Then it gets disbanded. And then they make a new SMP, and it's pretty much the same people.
Yeah.
But they give it a new name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually look at the content of what they do pretty much the same thing every time.
It's like they putting episode 1 in your title every episode, really, isn't it?
Yep. They rebuild the first 10 farms, 10 episodes are pretty much the same. Viewership drops off. Well, we're done with that. Let's start over again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, that's the point in the game. I actually quite enjoy that because I get to go, oh, I can build this farm. Oh, I can build that farm. And oh, how am I going to do this differently? And oh, how am I going to do that differently? And where am I going to put them? And I do enjoy doing that. Whereas once all the farms are built, a little bit like where I am in TB this season, I'm thinking, what do I do? Every time I sit down to record a video, I think, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I know I need to work on my base. I know I need to do that, but I don't want to do that. I want to, what farm can I build? I can't build them all. Can I build another one?
Because we've reached that point with our channels where we're in that niche. Those type of videos help us.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like this week, I pretty much guess that we're going to do some myth busting, and then we're probably going to build a super smelter.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Flash in the chat says, how many variations of a farm can you do? Millions. There's so many ways. So many ways to do all of the different types of farms. And it's not just maybe the core of the farm's similar, but how do you do the storage system? Where do you put it? How do you make it interact with other farms? How can you make it multi-purpose? What type of player are you aiming at? Are you aiming for the players that want all the items at once, or are you aiming for the people like us where we just like a few here and there? There's loads of different ways to build farms.
And see, not everybody could get away with a long-term world. Let's take Etho. He's on, 580 or 590 now on his episodes, and he's been on the same world forever. But that's not for everybody.
No.
Think about when a new season starts on a world, how many people are active at the beginning of the season? Take TB. How many people are active at the beginning of the world? Everybody. Everybody's active. Everybody's doing everything. And then, what are we, 6 months in? I don't even know how long we've been on this world
since November. So, 8, 9 months in now.
Now you're lucky if you catch 2-3 people on at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I like...
Now do a forever world. You'll never see them on.
I love the idea of a forever world. When I was doing, before TB and I was doing my Bedrock survival, my patrons were desperate to reset the world and start a new one because they'd all had enough. They'd finished. I really didn't want to. That was my world before they got there. And I loved it. And then while there wasn't tons of stuff that I'd done in there, everything I'd done, I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to go to a new world. I didn't want to start again because I was happy with where that was. And that was before I got into farming and tutorials and all that sort of stuff, really. And I would have loved for that to have been a forever world, or I like the idea of a world where, okay, you finished in one area, you go and move to another area of the world and start again there. I love those ideas, but realistically,
they don't work.
They don't always work, no. Certainly not with the group we're playing with at the moment. They've obviously got very particular ways of how an SMP should be. If I was to do it myself again, I probably would want it to be longer term, but change things up a lot more. Do it differently. Let's not just play vanilla Minecraft again and do the same thing we do every time. Let's change how we play the game and let's make it more interesting. Let's add more things to it. Let's do things differently. And then, instead of doing a reset, we're going to just move. We're going to set spawn 10,000 blocks away from where we were and start again and see how long the world takes before it dies. I would enjoy that. But it's not going to get me many farm views, I wouldn't have thought.
No.
Jeez.
I got a long-term world. The original Stockville. It's been up since season 1 of TB. Yep. Season 1. It's they're still having fun on it, still doing stuff, but it goes through a phase. The beautiful thing about a forever world is you can walk away from it and then come back to it. But for YouTube, I can't even think of
the only way that would work is
that's a
if
forever
your
world.
audience was so into that world, and you'd have to have a really big audience that really, really were into that world. So you'd have to have lore and things that people clicked with. It couldn't just be hey, this is totally me. This is my own thing. This is a little house that I built and a little castle, and there's a stream. There would have to be more to it than that to really hook people in, for them to want that world to last as long as possible as well. Yeah,
I think that's why hardcore series are so successful.
Yeah.
Because people like to think of them as a long-term world, but if you die, it's done.
Definitely.
If you die, it's done.
Gabity's next, saying, speaking of which, poor old Bruno. He didn't die, he just, his hard drive died, and he lost his world.
No. Oh.
Playing half a heart hardcore all that time and didn't die, but his world died. Oh, jeez.
Oh, rip.
Anyway, all right, Gabity says, do either of you remember the moment you got hooked in Minecraft? For me, I honestly thought Minecraft looked goofy when my son played it. Then one day he asked me to help him with this thing called redstone. Having never played it, I knew nothing about the game. We spent a few days problem solving together and finished product actually worked. That's when I was hooked. Would love to hear your stories. Keep up the good work. Slack, I'm sure you can remember the day, the time, and what you were having for breakfast when you got hooked on Minecraft. No? You've normally got a really good memory for this stuff.
I remember the first time I played it. I was, not the first time I played it was on Java. That was years ago, but I was on the computer that was a potato, so I didn't enjoy it. But the first time that I played it and I enjoyed it was on the Xbox 360. I was game sharing with another friend, and we would each week, one of us would buy a game and we'd share it with the other person, because you could do that with the game sharing. And the week came up and he wanted to do Minecraft, and I had no interest because I'd played it before on the PC. I didn't like it. And anyway, he bought it, I downloaded it, and we played on the world for about 6 hours one night. And the next day he went to play something else because he wasn't having fun with it. But I kept playing it. And I had to get a new Xbox. And when I got the new Xbox, I had to relog in to do all the file shares again. And I'd forgot his password to his account, because you had to share your passwords at that time, the game share. And he didn't answer me. And I waited for like 6 hours. He was at work, and finally I ended up buying the game myself. So I'd say that was probably the point where I was hooked. But I didn't really become insanely hooked in the game till 2017. But that was probably back in 2013.
I can't remember. It was a long, long, long time ago. It was before YouTube videos had any content on the actual stable release of Minecraft 1. Because I remember one of the first things I found fascinating was the idea that you could have pistons pushing cobblestone together. Basically, you have a cobblestone generator pushing pistons together. And when the pistons would push the blocks into each other in the middle, they wouldn't just stop. They would break, and all the cobblestone would fall into the water below. And you could you could smash blocks with pistons. And then there were minecart launching systems that were really, really cool, and redstone thing. And as soon as I saw all this stuff, I was obsessed. And bear in mind, I wasn't playing the beta because my first version I had was 1.0. I was trying to do all these things and they didn't work anymore. They'd been removed from the game and I was gutted. So I just ended up sort of fiddling with the game. And then I started a couple of worlds and didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't know about enchantments or anything like that. And then I remember another big thing that hit for me was when the stained glass update came out. I think it was the World of Colour or something like that update. And stained glass came in. I was like, wow, I can do all these crazy things with this coloured glass. And I think that's really when I knew that was it. Then I'm playing Minecraft forever. But I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell you the time and the date that happened. Anyway, Mystery's next. Slime.
Mystery says, what is your favorite enchantment for anything? Example, protection 4 for swords.
Smite 5 for swords to get rid of wither skeletons in one hit.
Favorite enchantment?
Or efficiency 5 on anything.
Feather falling.
Feather falling. I don't know. I lived for most of this season without feather falling, but then I don't care about dying, so I guess I don't.
Yeah,
not really the right person to judge that one. But no, mending on Elytra, unbreaking on Elytra.
Yeah, mending probably. Yeah, honestly, if I had to choose my favorite enchantment, it's mending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of nothing else that would top that, honestly. No.
Helen Pawsome says, what's your most favourite memory and build that you've had / done since starting playing Minecraft? And then there's another question as well. So let's answer that one first and then we'll ask the next one.
Okay, you go first.
Well, I don't know. Favourite memory and build that you've done? I copied a pirate ship out of a book once and built that in, although I built it in creative, but I was still really impressed with it. It was one of the first fancy builds I've ever done. In fact, that was my, do you remember, or you probably don't even remember, but really back early in my channel, I had the Saints on Eternal. Foxy No Tail got taken away from my original world because I'd used creative too much and taken to a place called Foxy's Choice. And there were bits of builds from all of the other worlds. There was a big old spaceship. There was a haunted house. There was a giant robot with a mod lab in it. And there was some cool stuff in that. I built a mage tower, which was one of the first times I'd ever built anything relatively big. Oh, it's all in creative, but the first time I built anything relatively big that was fancy. And I actually was really impressed with that, the way that went. And then I had, speaking of that Redstone book that we talked about, I had all of those books and there were a bunch of builds in there that I copied just from looking at the pictures in the books that I was really impressed with. And because that was relatively early on, I guess that's probably why they stick out as mine as favourite memories. But then I can't remember everything I built.
Favorite memories, if we go back before YouTubing, it's probably one of my first worlds. I remember I wanted to build a giant pyramid. And it was, I made the base 128 by 128, but at that time, the console's version, the world capped out at something stupid, so I couldn't finish the pyramid.
Oh, man.
I got so far up, and then that was it. There was no more build height.
Lucky. That must have been gutting when you got up there and you're like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
What?
But it's not the memory of building the pyramid. It's the nostalgia memories of mining the cobblestone, of mining, creating these tunnels that, oh my God, I connected this up to this, and I got a staircase over here that leads up and I got a spawner over here. And that was back before on console when the nether didn't even have fortresses in it.
Yeah.
So it's just early on.
That reminds me of, do you remember that guy recently it was just before the Caves and Cliffs update came out? There was a big piece of news. We actually covered it in the podcast where someone had on a console world finally dug out every single block down to bedrock.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
And then the Caves and Cliffs update came out and filled it all in down to -64 with Amazing.
Yeah,
Unlucky.
good talk there. Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, jeez. Oh man. But like that same world I was talking about. I linked all that whole lot of underground sewers and all sorts of. I never used any of it. Hardly any of it ended up in videos. Hardly any of it. But I enjoyed doing it. Like I had like a whole underground like secret lair for Foxy's enemy and all sorts. I loved doing all that back in the good old days.
Back in the good old days when you didn't know really about enchantments, so you would you go mining for 10, 12 hours straight with like a stone pickaxe.
I dug a big old hole in one of my first ever worlds in survival. I had no idea about enchantments. Slowly going down layer by layer, digging it all out with iron because I didn't have anything else. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Anyway, second question is, Foxy, would you or do you have any plans on doing a sequel to Mr. Onion's Vacation or one of your other characters you created? No, I don't have any plans for that at the moment. I won't say I would never do anything. I'm sure something will happen in the future with story, but right now I don't have any story plans. Sorry.
Hey, Stitch Fix already asked that question. Wait a minute.
Yeah, we ignore that one because I already answered that one.
Okay. Borenzo says, as someone who joined the Minecraft community post Render Dragon, can you guys explain how the game difference pre-post Render Dragon? It seems like all I ever hear is complaint about it because it eliminated shaders, which I do want, but what else does it do? Please go back pre-Render Dragon?
Yeah, what's the difference between pre-Render Dragon and how it used to work?
Shaders? Texture packs?
They completely rewrote the game's rendering engine and they called it Render Dragon. And they did that for a multitude of reasons. One is the original one wasn't very efficient and it was different on every single device. So they all used a different method of rendering the game, which when you're coding a game like Bedrock that's played on so many different devices, it meant that they had to code the graphics engine differently every single update, which took a lot of time and a lot of effort. Render Dragon brought everything together under one rendering engine, so it worked across devices. So it made life a lot easier for them. It also gave them the ability to run things like RTX. And it would be perfectly good at running shader packs if they hadn't locked out the ability to be able to do that in order to shove RTX down everybody's throats and make a big deal about that and earn some money from NVIDIA. That's the biggest problem with it, is that they basically locked off the ability to do shaders, and that's not because of Render Dragon. It is because of Render Dragon, but that's literally in the back end. I guess it's probably a little bit more advanced than a checkbox, but you used to be able to just use custom files for shaders, and they just stopped you being able to do that at the same time. And that decision, whether or not that's public knowledge or not, has got to be because of this partnership with NVIDIA to do RTX. Which sucks, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's after Render Dragon came out, there were a lot of issues, as you can imagine, if a game's having a complete overhaul on its rendering engine, but it was more efficient. You did get more frames per second. And for the game's development as a whole, it was better. But for the player's perspective, it was worse.
Yeah. What's the pack you missed the most pre-Render Dragon shader was?
Chunk lines and light levels.
Light levels, yeah, I was gonna say the light levels. Chunk lines, we get somewhat now, but oh my god, the light level pack.
I just like having chunk lines, just the little faint ones that we had, just to make life easier. I don't need to chunk line things, but I like to. That's my OCD there.
Yeah, like the chests, right? That's why you love trail runes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. So there you go. That's the answer. Is it me? It's me, isn't it?
Yep.
Stitch Fix with the last question. Oh, go on. What?
No, I didn't say nothing.
Oh. What's the update you think will get new players in the game? That's a really interesting question, Stitch Fix. I don't know what would bring new players to the game. I feel like, apart from, obviously, as each generation progresses, there are younger players that are picking up devices and picking up things like Minecraft. But realistically, what's bringing new players to Minecraft are not the updates, in my opinion. It is influencers, content creators that children talk about at school, or even as adults latch onto from one method or another. But the reason those content creators keep making content and keep dragging people into the game is because the updates keep the game interesting enough to keep playing on it and keep making videos. So by proxy, updating the game brings in new players. But I would love to see the percentages, because I would guess that if you looked at the percentages of how many players are coming to the game because they've watched someone else play it or they've heard of it from word of mouth, compared to how many players are buying Minecraft as the first time they bought it because Minecraft's got a new update, because they don't know. If you've never bought a game, if you've just come across a game that you don't own, how do you know it's got a new update? You don't know it's got a new update. When you're buying it from the shop, you don't know. You're not in the community. You're not in the know about it, unless you're one of these people that's been on the sidelines forever, waiting to buy the game, and this update's come out. So you don't know it's got an update. So I reckon the percentage of people buying the game because it's had a new update is probably less than 1% compared to those buying it because of word of mouth or because of what they've seen from other players. Or maybe a little bit of marketing in there for new stuff. But yeah, so what update do you think will get new players in the game? Well, any update that's going to make content creators happy. So anything that's got new things for them to fiddle with, new things to show off, new items, new blocks, new entities, new ways of depending on the if it's a redstoner, obviously people things to do with redstone. If it's a builder, things to do with building. I don't think you could pinpoint, hey, this would be great to get new people into the game. Maybe like we were talking about last week with like an RPG game mode. That might bring new people into the game, but how would they know it's different and new unless there was a whole new marketing thing? Hey, look, this game, Minecraft, you can now do like this as a whole new type of gameplay in here that you could play. That might bring in a few people.
Yeah. But it's going to bring in people that are interested in that genre, So who knows? Pretty much as Foxy said, any update that keeps content creators making content.
Yeah, I don't think you could really pinpoint it down any more than that. Sadly,
no. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is it. The end of the questions, which is good because we're a long way into this podcast and I'm ready for bed. Jeez.
Long way in with no news, right?
Right, exactly. Oh, geez. If you have a question for us and you want to ask it for us to answer on next week's show, then please email us news@theblockupdate.com. Fill in the feedback form on the blockupdate.com website or join the Block Update Discord. The links for all of those things are in the description below. As a kind reminder to all of you out there that are not currently supporting us on the patrons, if you enjoy this show and you want to help support us and get access to those wonderful bonusy things, then you can do by going to patreon.com/the Block Update. This week, Slack is going to be doing
videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and streams are that's what they are. Yep.
Yep, and I'm also going to be doing all of the things that I try and do every week as much as possible, including my Duckshot channel, which is it's only got a few days left, guys. There's 7 more days worth of videos on that channel before I have to start a new game. Jeez.
Oh.
On that note, it's time to end, and I'm going to end by saying the same thing that I say at the end of every single podcast Slack, and that is, if you try and get rid of my adventure mode because you don't know what it is, then I'm going to get rid of you.
And if you don't like adventure mode, go to Google and find something else.
Hey, Slack, we didn't do your life tip of the week.
Life tip of the week is next time you want a life tip of the week, ask for it at the right time. Just saying.
Good idea. That's a really good tip. On that note, it's time to end. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.